Well. Hello there, magic people of the internet who love beer radio. My name. My name. That's me. I'm that guy. I'm Matt from Massive
That person.
Beers. Yeah, totally that person. And we have
Yeah.
Joe from NEPA Beer Reviews. What's going on, homie?
Not too much. How was your week?
My week was very interesting. In the sense that if all our one viewer who watches the show probably watched last week, you heard me intermittently pepper complaints about my foot. Because I was like, my foot's bothering me, blah blah blah. So I rolled my ankle basically. I sprained it, and it's not my first. I played collegiate sports up into college, football and
Mhm.
track and shit like that. So I have twisted and torn every fucking thing on the lower half of my body pretty much. So I
Yeah.
sprained it, and I was like, okay, whatever, fucking sprain, boo-hoo. And then by like Thursday of this week, I was like, yeah, this is just not a sprain, man. It just doesn't feel the same.
It's not going away.
Yeah. So I went to the doctor last night, got x-rayed, and I broke my ankle. So yay.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds infinitely worse than it actually is, because when you break an ankle, it could be either you fucking snap the tibia in fucking half, or I got a super small kind of crack on the tip of the ankle bone. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
like, it's basically a tendon pulled, probably the tendon pulled so hard that it just cracked the bone a little bit, but didn't tear completely off. So it just hurts. It hurts, and it's one of the most annoying injuries I've had in recent memory, because for example, it was pretty painful. I mean, in general, it's more tolerable now than it was last week, but like yesterday I woke up and I was like, man, this thing's fucking killing me, and I'm pretty much working two jobs now. I'm like, I think I might just skip my second job at the tattoo shop and just skip it because my ankle's killing me. And that was like around like 10 a.m. By noon, I almost didn't feel any pain at all. So it didn't hurt for about and I didn't take any pills or anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't like I took something and masked it and I was like, oh, that's working great. And then about like 10 o'clock last night, it started hurting again. So I don't fucking know. You know what I mean? I have no idea what's going on. So that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much it for me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. No. How about you?
Well, yesterday I had an interview for a job up at Omegang.
I've heard of
Uh,
that place.
yeah. Haven't we all? Um, it was a cool ride to go up there. I'd never been to the brewery before. I knew next to nothing about their operation, and I didn't realize that they were a round the
Duvel's.
clock. Yeah,
Yeah.
they brew round the clock.
Okay.
Um, that was pretty interesting. Like you really kind of have to. It's just more more of everything can, I think, go wrong if you're brewing round the clock. There's only like a handful of breweries that I know that do it. I think there's some in Canada that do, but it was pretty cool. The job would be I think it's either like afternoon or their midnight shift. And the reason I say either or, I think the actual job opening is for their afternoon shift.
Okay.
But they operate under seniority. So, say someone from the midnight shift wanted to jump up and go to afternoons, they can do that, and then I would be on the midnight shift. But it was a cool ride up. I'm I get about maybe half an hour away from the brewery. Well, my interview is at first off. My interview was at 11. So it's about 10 o'clock, maybe a little bit before 10, and I pull over at a rest stop just to go to the bathroom. Stretch the legs a little bit. I get back into my car and I'm wearing a button down shirt. I get back into the car and the shirt rips like
Yeah,
right
buddy.
by a button. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding me? Like this isn't even a spot that I could like hide it and like play it off, you know? I'm like, ugh, fuck. So the the first time I've ever like actually used Siri, I just go into it and like find closest Walmart. Uh, but luckily I didn't have to. I don't particularly like going to Walmart, but that's a story for another day. Uh, Luckily I was able to bypass going to Walmart and I found a TJ Maxx, which I then sprinted. I'm an hour early. I'm
Yeah.
still like I have a solid hour to use before I officially have to get to Omegang, but I'm still in that like panic mode of like I gotta fucking get this now. So I run in, find the first shirt that I can, run to the register, pay for it, and I'm back on my way. I'm like, are you? It was just it was too much. I'm like, I can't fucking believe that this just happened.
Yeah, dude. And it just, I mean, for bringing the story full circle, you don't have to explain that you don't like to shop at Walmart. You'd have to explain if you did like to shop at Walmart. There's no explanation needed, man. I mean, it's like, wow, man.
Yeah,
I love Walmart.
I
It's
love
such a
fucking
great
going to
place.
Walmart,
And
man.
then you'd be like, whoa, we need to dive deeper into this shit. Yeah, nobody likes fucking
Like,
Walmart.
why do you like
the
going?
people who own Walmart don't like going to Walmart. The people who like to go to Walmart don't realize they hate it. They're just dumb enough to think they don't hate it.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, that's cool though. How'd the interview go?
It was pretty good. It was formatted kind of similar to Weyerbacher's interview. They just kind of asked me about myself and about the program, um, and then I got to see the brewery. The brewery manager Joe took me around, and it was pretty cool. And it's like the end of him. You know, I'm asking questions about how often and like how fast it takes them to like cool out their beer, and you know how many brews they do in a day, all that kind of stuff. But at the very end of it, like I'm like we're done and just kind of like bullshitting for a minute. Um, he he said he was on my blog on my website that morning, and thought it was very well put together and laid out very nicely and looked very professional.
Hmm.
He's
There you
like, you
go.
know, yeah, he's like, you know, you have some people that say they do a blog and it's just like thrown together. He's like, but yours was laid out very nicely. It was like very well done.
That doesn't suck. Yeah, I mean,
Nope.
did you ever think like your like that would like the blog would actually in like cross paths in an interview like that?
In an interview like that, no. I did through the blog. I did get to go to an Oktoberfest for free a couple years ago, but that was a PR person who was like up on their job, reached out to me from something that Amanda did
Yeah.
about one of their things. But I think we talked about it at some point. Um, but yeah, I honestly, it's kind of one of those things that for me doing my blog was like, I'm going to do it because I like it. But if this ever came up, I'm like, that's cool. I'm not looking for anything to come out
From
of
it,
it,
yeah.
you know?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think most people, you know what I mean, go into that stuff thinking that. I mean, you just kind of do it because you dig it, and if something comes from it, it comes from it. If not, you know what I mean, whatever. What else you got?
When I was over at Sabatini's maybe an hour ago or so, I picked up some interesting beer. I got the Hop Stoopid for the review today. Amanda picked up 2 beers that she's going to review. Well, 3 beers technically. And then, have you had the Obel yet from Duclaw?
Yes, I reviewed it,
Okay.
and I just haven't posted it yet.
What'd you think of it?
I thought it was. I thought it needed a long time to kind of develop flavor. It was just. It tasted very old ale-ish with not obviously an old ale, but an oat ale maybe, an old oat ale or something like that. But it just kind of it stopped short of bringing anything that was really cool. But you'd actually taste the oatiness because that's a fucking technical term.
Oatiness is that's a thing.
Yeah, and it was okay. I want to revisit the same bottle in about 4 to 5 years. That's how I think I wrapped it up that way. Did you have it?
No, I picked up 2 bottles of it.
Did they still had tire hands on draft?
I didn't look at the draft. I just kind of went and
yeah, because
a couple bottles and left.
Wednesday they put 4 tired hands beers on draft.
Oh, really?
They had like
What did they put on?
I could look it up real quick. They because they had like a mini like kind of bottle thing doing it. The only reason I asked is I was just curious. I haven't been down there yet because of my ankle and shit like that. But I really need to talk to Lindo because they put on, let's see, hop hands, lemonade, root of perception, and saison hands. And but they when I got back from Pittsburgh, when I was down Pittsburgh, let's put it this way, I was talking to Dennis from Dry Lag, and we were talking about breweries, and I mean, just to be nice about it, I guess you'd say he found Tired Hands to be difficult to work with because he tried to contact them about maybe like meeting or brewing together or something like that. And I'm being nice by saying difficult. And when I came back, I kind of repeated the story to Lindo, and he immediately went into like a 10-minute tirade about how he'd never gonna let fucking anything Tired Hands come in the Sabatinis because he like called them about trying to get some beers into his bottle shop and the bar if just on draft, and they were like, oh, in order for you to have our beer in your bar, we want you to come down here, we want to kind of vet you and interview you and make sure your place is good enough to have our beers and shit like that. So he was like, fuck them, you know what I mean, they're never gonna have anything in my fucking bar. And lo and behold, this Wednesday, Tired Hands. So I just want to go up there and really fucking bust his chops. I'm sure he'll be like, I never said that. You know what I mean? But
yeah, of course he will.
If it fucking happened, you know what I mean? So yeah. So yeah, what else was I gonna say? Did you see it was a cool little thing about, I would say, about 4 months ago? 4 months ago, maybe 5, 6, who knows at this point. We had the High Road guys, the Bronin, on.
Yeah.
Did you see them? What happened this week?
No.
Yeah, they posted on their Facebook that Draft Magazine mentioned Bronin as one of the best beers to try in Toronto.
Really?
Yeah, well, it says mention us in the latest issue about beers to try in Toronto best. But so yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. Kudos to those guys. You know what I mean?
Charger again. But speaking of Dry Lag, we also got a Dry Lag beer.
Which one?
St. Angus.
Yeah, I love that beer.
Yeah, looking at it, I've been watching a shit ton of Futurama on Netflix, and for some reason, I can't not think Agnew, like headless, like Nixon's like headless clone of Agnew when I see that beer.
Yeah, and that's still their old labels, right? It's the tiny little bottle of St. Angus, or did you get the bomber?
Little bottle.
And it's the old ghetto ones, not the new style ones, right?
I don't think so. It's got like a dog on it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think the
it's
bottle's
the,
upstairs. Amanda was gonna
yeah,
review it.
it's the old ghetto one. Yeah, they just rebranded their whole line, so that means the one you have is older. I think it's just it's a Belgian pale with wild yeast. Obviously, I really dug it. That's how the beer I met a couple people at Breaker a couple months ago, and I brought that there and gave some to the Breaker guys, and they dug it too.
Cool.
Now, and I went to Breaker last night too. On the way home, I was just like, I want a beer, so I went and had 2 beers and then bounced. So that was nice. I had they do that Belgian triple, Goldie's triple or something like that, but they did it with peaches, like a small portion of it. I got it. 13 ounces is a little bit too much. It's a very fruit candy peaches, not like fresh peaches, like sweet peach, like peach rings, kind of, the peach rings kind of thing, like that kind of peachy. So it was good, but it started to be like, oh man, 13 ounces. I don't know, one of those deals. Other than that, I'm trying to think, man. I just got a big beer mail in from Brooklyn and got a bunch of other half beers, so that was fun. And it's pretty...
I'm gonna be getting an 06 Mad Elf.
Oh yeah, that's right.
From a friend of mine. Yeah, I'm trading. Nice. I have it right here. I'm trading this bad boy for it.
Bottle for bottle?
Mm-hmm.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
I told him I'd trade him for.
Oh, you're nutty, man. That old beast is worth, I would say, a 4 to 6 pack of fucking Mad Elves.
Yeah, I have
literally that the beast is like an $18 bottle of beer.
Was that $18?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, $15.99 to $17.99. Yeah. You're getting hosed, buddy.
Well, I put up 3 beers. I have another bottle, or that would have been on the table.
Nah.
And we already drank one, so. So I got another one that I'm going to keep aging for a little while longer. But yeah, I don't care.
Is that from your 2012 stash?
That's 2010, actually.
Which is probably it's probably from your 2012 stash, because usually they take like a couple years to float into this area. Usually I see a lot of times they'll see like, because where'd you buy that? Sabs. You had to bought that at Sabs. If not Sabs, then Gold.
No, I bought that at Georgetown.
Okay. But those back then, like all the Beast series were always like a couple years old. Like now you'll find some 2014s and shit, but usually they're a year old.
I have the full Demon series from 2010. I have the Beast, Samaels, and
Mephistopheles. Nice.
One day I'll open them up. I don't know when that day will be.
One day, when we should do it. We should open it together when we do the Santa Claus vertical with Brad.
Okay.
Did Brad contact you about that?
No, he didn't.
No, that little motherfucker. Yeah, no, like my buddy Ian, who kind of got me into beer back in the day, used to date some girl who worked at a pizzeria down in Bartonsville, Broadheadsville, down that area.
Okay.
And when we're talking, this is fucking 15 years ago, maybe longer. Yeah. And when he worked down there, the owner's like, he got to talking with the owner, and the owner's like, yeah, he's like, talking about beer, and Ian's like, oh man, I love this, I love that. So he got the guy in the beer for a hot minute. You know what I mean? Like even now, like I actually went to the place a week after Brad told me about the Santa Claus. One, because I was driving by, and two, I wanted to see if I could find them, even though Brad said they were the owner's personal stash. The owner's like, oh, because Brad delivers beer there. That's like one of his roots. And he bought one of these off the owner, which is a Santa Claus 4-pack specialty box that contained a let's see, and a 94 or 95, 96, and 97 Santa Claus.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy. Like crazy. That's like that. Those are the old, like they look like this. It's like Santa Claus. The bottles used to be even different. Like they were like rounder and had these weird different foil topstone. They're made by a totally different brewery too. So it's like, yeah, I haven't seen a foil top Santa Claus in fucking forever. But he was like, yeah, he's like, we'll drink them together. And he's like, he's like, he's like, we'll do it with Joe. And I was like, okay, talk to Joe, find out a day, and we'll do it. And he's like, I will. So I assumed he contacted you about it. But he didn't.
Hold on. I may be lying, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
This is probably about 2 weeks ago, maybe, give or take.
No.
Good. Now I have ammo to make fun of him and bust his balls.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, so I'm getting lucky to the point now where like breweries send me beer, and that's pretty fucking cool. I'd still be doing it if they didn't, but you know what? Who's the fuck's gonna turn away free beer? Anyway, the first time I ever got free beer was a brewery from Italy sent me like a case of these Italian bomber beers, and that was really fucking cool. I was like, kind of like, oh my god. They contacted me, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. The second people to contact me was this Belgian style brewery from Italy called White Pony. I talked to you about this a while ago.
Yeah.
And me and the owner,
like, what's his name at fucking
yeah, that happened.
Got it at the place.
yeah. And no, well, he didn't get it at the place. He ordered them from Belgian beer shop. You know what I mean? Because they didn't have
like that Belgium in a box or whatever.
Yeah, kind of like that because they didn't have distribution in the United States yet. So it was like we were trying to figure out how he could send me beers. He's like, I want you to review my beers. I was like, okay, really nice guy, young guy, Roberto. We talked back and forth, and then it just didn't work out. We just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? But we stayed Facebook friends, and we just kind of chat back and forth here and there, or whatever. And that was like, you know, what? I don't know, a year ago, maybe. Probably right around a year ago, give or take. And he out of the blue, he writes me, because we hadn't talked for a couple months, and he writes me last week. He's like, just to let you know, he's like, we're now distributing in the United States through this import company, C2 Imports. He's like, contact them and tell them I told you to contact you, and then they'll send you our beers. I was like, fuck yeah, motherfucker, because they make beers that I'm into. So I was like, oh yeah, dude, I finally get to try these beers. I contacted people. They're like, yeah, we're sold out. So I'm just like, what the fuck? So I wrote the dude back. I'm like, dude, kudos to you guys for fucking selling out an unknown beer in the United States so quick. I feel like you're fucking teasing me now, like joking, obviously. You know what I mean? Be like, I kind of want your beers more than ever now. This is like a really great marketing scheme. He's like, ah, ha, ha. And they're just like bummed. So it's like now it's becoming a white whale of mine to like get these beers somehow. You know what I mean? So we'll see. That's the only other beer story I think I have. Oh, and I had this is fun. I kind of want to do it, but I'm kind of scared to do it. A hangover supplement company wanted to send me hangover supplements. Yeah, Sun Rocks Party. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Sun Rocks. Yeah, I'm kind of scared about. I was kind of scared about swallowing random vials of who the fuck knows from random strangers.
Random vials of poison from strangers.
Off Instagram. Yeah, I don't think I'm into that. Honestly, I don't think that's something I really want to do. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, what are we talking about today? Let's get into that shit, because again, one of our 20-minute intros.
This was a longer intro than we've had, at least than we had last week. Today is all about beer marketing, and I took it from more of an aesthetic side. So
yeah, I go more even beer branding than marketing, because we're not going to talk about like TV ads or
branding.
billboards or anything like that. We're talking about
like that.
Yeah, bottles, the labels, to the whole nine.
Yeah. So first topic, we're kind of just almost the aesthetic of branding. So can versus bottle, cap versus swing top versus cork and cage. Waxed bottles, labels, and pretty much does any of that have affect? How does it affect our purchasing? Do we swing toward a can versus a bottle? Do we automatically go toward a uh, wax top bottle, regardless of what it is? And then, does any of that really matter? Does the way that it's presented matter? And then our review, we actually have a review this week, is Lagunitas Hop Stoopid. And then the second topic is kind of how is beer longevity affected by waxing compared to not waxing, compared then to cork and cage, and breweries putting a bottle, what we think about bottle/vintage dates versus nothing at all, and then does all of that matter? So I'll actually start.
Okay.
First, I'll start this one. In the regard of bottle versus can, and I'm just taking this step by step because this is something that I could really talk about. Up until very recently, I had a thing where I wouldn't buy canned beer. I think it was from a home brewing perspective of like, I bottle beer myself. It has more of like to me, it had more of a personal kind of like personal touch versus a can, which I automatically assimilate to like soda or stuff of that nature. That was until I canned beer and we got a canning line at school, and I went to school for brewing, when I realized that like fucking cans are the way to go, and it's nonsense for beer not to be in a can. But yeah, that kind of shows. If I can, I don't know if I can switch my camera. I don't think I can.
You should be able to.
Can I?
Yeah, there should be a spin around thing up top. It should be right on the screen. Yeah.
So if you're watching this, there's my beer cellar. You'll note, at least within view, there's only
4 cans.
5 cans.
Well,
and the rest are bottles.
Yeah.
4 cans. Well, if you look back that way, there's the wild sour and then 4 silver.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, yeah. So that'll show. I think that was kind of my like on. Fix my fucking camera now. There we go. So my view on canned beer versus bottle beer was, I steered more toward a bottle, and I think part of it was also for homebrewing. I wanted bottles to homebrew because I bottle all of my beer. I don't keg yet, and everyone is like, "Why aren't you?" Once you start kegging, you will never go back to bottling again. But I also have bottles behind me.
Yeah, you see
that right here. So
that I don't agree with for you, because you appreciate aging beer, whereas a lot of homebrewers don't. Homebrewers brew to drink their beers until the beer is done in a homebrew and do that. Like, you're not. That's not how you function. You know what I mean? You drink your homebrew, obviously, but you like to let it sit and rest and age and all that kind of shit. So I wouldn't necessarily say kegging's easier, and it's easier to like get lazy and just keg shit. But
honestly, I think display, like for display purposes, just because I pointed to the stuff behind me, for display purposes, I do think a bottle, it looks better than a can. Like, you have some cans behind you, but that's fine. You have a smaller kind of area. I have a kind of a larger area, and it would look like, I've had cans behind there. I'm like, all right, that just kind of looks weird. I'm like,
like
swap that out with something.
I put that shelf up and just threw some shit on there just to get shit on there. And
yeah.
And like if you go down, if you look at my setup downstairs, what I do reviews on, I couldn't tell you if there's a can in view. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But I mean in general, like the whole like as a basic. Are you done with yours? Should I go or?
I am. Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't think generally one is better than the other. In a generic sense,
Yeah.
Obviously, cans are optimal as far as environmentally, as far as keeping the beer fresh because you don't have to worry about light penetration and you really don't have to worry about oxidation ever because it's fucking sealed, or external oxidation, I should say. And from a marketing standpoint, it's awesome because there's more fucking real estate to advertise on, and then fucking like there's a lot of pluses to it. Okay, but the only part why I say one's better, not better than the other. We don't drink out of fucking aluminum fucking this. When's the last time you saw a goblet, a tulip, a fucking Z stem, a fucking whatever, your Spiegeloo made out of fucking aluminum? You don't. You know what I mean? So we drink out of fucking glass for a reason. You know what I mean? So glass is just inherently something that is just for me better. But at the same time too, I think right now, and I could be proven wrong and opinions change, glass is still better for aging because I don't know how the integrity of a can is going to last over 5, 10, 15 years.
I would agree with that as well. I don't know how. I'm sure they're making improvements in lining, but
yeah, but it's not even
for 20 years.
It's not even internal. It's external. Who the fuck knows? Do you know what I mean? A lot of cans. I don't know if I have a can floating around here, but a lot of cans. I have one over there. I can't reach it. Will have like etchings on the tab. You know what I mean? Like that of like I don't know what it is. I don't know what they mean. But to me, any kind of like in a perfect world, we all have these walk-in fucking temperature controlled fucking humidor fucking beer fridges, but 1% of the world has those. And we take our beer, we either put it in a fridge that we have downstairs if we're lucky enough to do that, or we put it in a cellar. And rarely are we going to have a cellar that's going to be temperature and moisture controlled. So you're talking about metal that could fucking fail and you don't know. You know what I mean? Like if you actually go to old flea markets or you go to places like that and you see old beer cans, you could always see that kind of rust dripping down from the connection point and like stuff like that. I mean, again, manufacturing has made leaps and bounds since those beers were made, but it's metal. You know what I mean? I've never seen a metal car not rust eventually. New or old, you know what I mean? Yeah, granted, you're not dragging your beer cans over fucking salt and potholes, but at the same time, there's the ability for stuff to corrode. So that's why I think, even though bottles are more prone to oxidation, that's why I think they both serve a purpose. And it kind of is reflected, and this is actually a big thing. This is probably my biggest sticking point. Not yet, but I'm leading into it. Is the way beers are going right now, bottles are big beers, or bottles are beers that typically are okay not to drink fresh, and cans are almost like a flashing red sign saying "Drink me now." You know what I mean? It's almost like
I can see that.
Exclusively, there's exceptions to the rule, 1050, and you know what I mean, bigger beers, and that's the thing I'm going to get to eventually. But most of it's a lot of IPAs, double IPAs, beers like that are like drink fresh. You know what I mean? And breweries have made that a marketing tool. You know what I mean? They've come out with the when you see a pounder can on a shelf, you think it's a fucking IPA or double IPA that you need to drink as fast as humanly possible because no one.
Yeah, if I picked up any of the against the grain cans, either Show Enough or Brown Note, if I picked any of those up tonight, they were going right in the fridge, and I was going to drink them tonight.
Or even more immediately you grab it, you look at it, and what is the first thing you do? You flip it up and look on the bottom to see if there's a can on date. You know what I mean? It's almost like instinct at this point. Yeah, I look at bottle dates on actual bottles too, but it's not the first thing I fucking look at. You know what I mean? So there's that whole like they've generated this by they I mean breweries have kind of made the pounder can, which is a bastard can actually, which is funny that it's become that, because it's almost like the by default bastard can fucking of choice that is awesome now. That when breweries started canning became really popular with the IPA and double IPA, and then you had these influx of mobile canning units that would drive around and fucking can beers for people that you would call up. And this is I got this comes from Michael Kane from Kane Brewing. You can actually watch the interview I did with him, and he talks about this, is that how like brokering cans is a hard fucking problem that a lot of breweries have. Like you don't see beers in 12-ounce cans. Like a lot of these breweries come out with pounders, and you're like, oh my god, pounders are so cool. No, because they can't get 12-ounce cans. They're just not available. They've been gobbled up by the biggest breweries, and then other people that actually have like can fucking contracts with canning companies. So what was left was pounder cans. That's what all was available. So if people are like, fuck it, that's all that's available, be like, I'll fucking can in the pounder cans. And now it's become like a symbol in the craft beer community of new IPAs that, they all come in pounder can 4-packs. And that's how it's bought nowadays. And it's gotten
like honestly the only companies that I could think of that do like 12-ounce cans, Distill for their wild sours and Oscar Blues, like off the top of my head. Ballast Point.
There's a lot of them. Sam Adams does it.
Yeah, like off the top of my head, those are the three that I
21st Amendment does all 12-ounce cans. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch.
I forgot about them.
But it's funny because it's getting to the point to where even 21st Amendment can't fucking deal with cans, because now they put their toaster pastry in 20-ounce fucking cans. So now you start seeing these fucking extra tall boys popping up, because that's actually, again, what Michael Kane from Kane Brewing said. He's like, when they first started producing their first canned beer, which is their overhead, they had one of the biggest hurdles they had was finding a pounder can. They said there's no way we could do 12s because they just don't exist. Then we couldn't find it. They almost had to put their beer in 20-ounce cans because they were the only cans available until last minute. They got lucky with a friend hooked them up with a company that had pounder cans. So you know what I mean? Like it's just that's how canning has evolved. It went from something that people just canned beer sucks to now like canned beer that's how we do it. You know what I mean?
And that was like it was almost a very quick, like it just kind of happened. Like one day everyone was like, canned beer now. That's what we want. You know,
the ease of the canned beer was also a big factor too, because a lot of breweries, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it was just like that they chose cans because they were whatever, but there's no mobile bottling units. Do you know what I mean? Like that's mobile canning revolutionized kind of how beer is kind of done everywhere. Do you know what I mean? So
it's like for a company like say Oscar Blues that's could kind of do you're an outdoorsy person, like, well, why don't you take your beer on a hike? But bottles are too cumbersome. Why don't you toss some cans in that cooler? You know, it's like that kind of thing going for it as well. You know?
Yeah. And what was the fucking point I was gonna make? I don't know. But so bottle versus cans, as far as in general speak, it's become more that IPA, double IPA thing. But here's the thing: this is how I knew cans went from they were never shitty, but they went from, well, they were. Cans were shitty. The linings and the whole nine at one point were fucking disgusting. But leaps and bounds. But fucking how I knew that it arced and it was okay. Now canning, people are down with canning is when I saw delirium tremens in cans. That's what I knew.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have delirium tremens in cans at Sabs. And when I saw a Belgian brewery can their beer, I was like, okay, now cans. There's going to be people out there that say cans still suck. The same way people say if you get your right ear pierced just straight and left ear, you're gay. Like that doesn't exist, but people still believe that bullshit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And like all those myths that exist that people just still, you know what I mean? Still just spread across the earth. It's like that. It's they're not going to go away. But like I said, for longevity reasons, I personally still think a bottle is the way to go. And, you know, the whole wax top cork and cage thing is the way to go when it comes to actual like aging beer. It works. It ain't broke. Don't fix it kind of thing. Maybe I'm a little old school, but for someone that's loved old Belgian beers for as long as I could possibly imagine, it just makes sense for me.
Cool.
There you go.
We kind of went second with longevity now, so I could, let's see.
Why was that supposed to be later in
that was the second beer longevity?
Well, no. I actually have I have more to say on that. So that's
Okay,
there's
cool.
Now,
how do you think you love? You said in many of your reviews, you love like fucking ghetto looking labels. Like is there how much of that, like if it's a new beer that you've never had before, do you take like the face value of like the label before, like will that how much does that influence your decision whether or not to buy the beer? Now, I'm not saying like a beer that you yourself are going out to buy, not something that's been sent to you.
Labels mean a lot, man. You know me. From day one, I've been a fucking label junkie. So how a beer looks, I put a bunch of credence in it, man. But there's exceptions to the rule. There's labels that I fucking hate, and the beer is awesome. Perfect example. I'll give you this. Okay, and this breaks it down to the most Matty-isms of all Matty-isms. Is that fucking? I just went third person ism. Is that I like you said, I like ghetto Belgian labels. To me, like I like Belgian beer, and a lot of Belgian labels are just like they were utilitarian. You know what I mean? They were just like we have to put a label on it for information, and people put pictures on labels. So hey, Monk Joseph, draw a label for us really quick. You know what I mean? You know how to draw better than all of us. And then he draws some shitty label. They put it on the beer and it becomes fucking awesome because that's I like that. Okay. That kind of ghetto, and more to a newer extent, dry lag. Dry lag, you just picked up the St. Angus, and more to an extent, their Guten Tag. Their Guten Tag label is really fucking ghetto. Because what happened was, and the story is, and it was on Dry Leg's website, but if you ask Dennis, he'll tell the fucking story. And if you actually go to the interview I have with him back in my shit, I think he tells the story in there, is that the Guten Tag ghetto label is that he was drunk at 3 a.m. and he's not a computer person. He opened up the computers, whoever's computer it was, because he doesn't have one, and ghettoly drew the label on MS Paint. You know what I mean? Like that's how he drew. That's how he came up with the label for it. He just drunkenly made the label in MS Paint, but it was a natural thing. It's just it kind of organically happened that way. Now, and I kind of tell a story in a review of the beer I'm going to talk about now. Fast forward to last night. Okay, I got a beer mail from Brooklyn. And I had a bunch of Brooklyn beers in there. There's a bunch of other half beers. There was a Finback beer in there, and there was a Grimm beer. Now, Grimm is a gypsy brewery, a nomad brewery, but they're pretty much based in Brooklyn. Okay, and And one of the beers that that beer that was sent to me was a double IPA called Lambo's Door. And basically what it is it was a really good beer. So this goes to show you, I hated the label, but the beer was good. So that theory of shitty labels, shitty beer, out to shoot, what the fuck do I know? But the way it's drawn, and I'll try to bring it up real quick to give you a better example. The person kind of drew like a Lamborghini, the side of a Lamborghini. And it's horrible. It's drawn horribly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but here's the thing. It was drawn horribly on purpose. You know what I mean? Like it was drawn, like you could tell that. Let's see if I can find a really good picture of it. Come on, you motherfuckers. Like, see, you can see there. Like, it's gonna be hard to see. See if I can tilt it away. It's hard. Like, this is like 2 ghetto drawn wheels and this MS Paint kind of door. And it's the rest of it's just gray. There's no real car there. It's just drawn like really shitty. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I can kind of see it now. Yeah.
But it's drawn really shitty on fucking purpose. Like the person is like, okay, when we draw this, man, we got to make sure this looks like a fucking 4-year-old and bath salts drew it. You know what I mean?
Compared to like, I got drunk, opened up MS Paint
and tried my best to draw a fucking label. You know what I mean?
Just did my darndest.
Yeah. And that's where the good and people are like, well, they're both the same thing. No, they're fucking not.
No,
and this is the analogy I made. Okay, there's nothing fucking funnier in my eyes than unintentional comedy. When someone's trying to be funny or trying to be serious, but it's fucking funny. You know what I mean? Like, I love that shit. When you see, like, that's like, the internet clips, YouTube, or even shows. You have movies. We all have those movies that are like whatever, like Roadhouse. Half of Roadhouse is fucking hilarious because it's so absurd and it's just retardedly funny. And it's not supposed to be funny, but it is. You know what I mean? There's so many movies like that are just,
yeah.
Or even TV shows. A lot of Bollywood movies are like so over the top. They're not even, they're a joke, but they're not meant to be a joke. That's funny. Yeah. Then there's shows like Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric, that was on Nickelodeon. That was a show that was trying to be unintentionally funny. So it was an intentionally unintentional funny show. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and it's just not funny to me. Like a lot of people like that show because people have no taste, but like fucking they can't
cut out for a second. What show are you talking about exactly?
Tim and Eric.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Tim and Eric is just a show that's trying to be unintentional funny on purpose. Mm-hmm. It's trying to be
that's on like Adult Swim and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't understand that show.
And
I never watch it. I'm like, I see commercials for it. I'm like, this looks fucking stupid.
Yeah, and it's just it's lots of people love it. A lot of people like Olive Garden, fucking fucking Donald Trump. So whatever. But fucking it's not funny. It's not because it's forced. And that's kind of like when it comes to like ghetto labeling. There's ghetto labels. There's 3 kinds of ghetto labels. There's Belgian-esque, innocent, dry lag. I did my darndest, like you said, and just created a label. And if it looks like shit, I don't care. This is the label I want. Then there's just I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing, and even though I'm trying my hardest, I hired some like person that says they know graphic design, but they don't, and it's labeled just amateur. It's not bad. It's just amateur. And then there's the unintentional, intentional, and unintentional label. Like there's a bunch of them out there. I think Prairie, a lot of their labels are like that. A lot of the Bomb series, stuff like that are like these badly drawn, kind of unintentionally funny kind of labels.
Got one right behind me.
Yeah, and then there's like I said, fucking that grim Lambo door.
It's like this. The Prairie labels are kind of like this.
Yeah, they're drawing them badly, but on purpose. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's not for me. I don't like it because it's. You know what I called it? I made fun of hipsters. I say that's how I classified it. That was my other analogy in my little rant that I went through on that review. As I said, the difference between, because I have friends that look like hipsters. I mean, hipsters is a generic word, but I have a very clean thought in my head of what they are. To me, the atypical hipster is your denim wearing, plaid shirt, beard, tattoos. Hello, that's what I have, but no plaid shirt.
Yeah.
And, Avid Brothers listening, whatever guy. Anyway, I have friends that look like stone cold, exactly what I would describe as a hipster. But here's the difference. And I have friends who are actual like hipsters, but I have friends that look like hipsters, and then I know people who are straight up hipsters. The difference is my friend who walks out his house who looks like the hipster, like got up, farted, brushed his teeth if you're lucky, and then walked out of his house with the nearest clothes he could possibly find and looked like a hipster.
Yeah.
The other guy spent 4.5 hours to look like my friend
really.
who didn't think about leaving the house looking like that. You know what I mean? That's the fucking difference. You know what I mean? And that's the difference between Lambo Doors label and the old Belgian labels. One was spent, they probably did test bedded it and market researched it or something. You know what I mean? and fucking, and like, Monk Joseph just fucking drank 16 table beers and just sketched up something real quick and off it goes. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where that's where the label
his hand was steadier than the rest, and that's why his job was making the label.
Yeah. So label wise, that's outside of that spectrum. There's some labels right behind me, the Duda CLs. Fucking Duda CLs is like the best fucking, and that's art. That's not even a label. That's like they've managed to get some artists that's awesome to do their labels. You know what I mean? That's just blowing me away. Then there's other stuff like Epiphany from fucking Foundation Brewing. Like that label's awesome, but there's no pictures, no graphics on it. It's just graphically designed in a very appealing way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just works. So there's like labeling does go a long way for me. I do pick up beers based off of labels. And then there's some beers I just don't. But also, you're talking to a guy who didn't drink anything that had artisanal in the name for fucking 5 years. So what the fuck do I know?
You not just wouldn't drink anything with artisanal, actively avoided anything with artisanal in it.
Yeah, and I still do to this point. It's funny because I drink Prairie. I love Perennial. They're one of my favorite breweries. But
I
still
Perennial artisan and not artisanal.
Yeah, 6 to 1/2 dozen. Artisanal and artisan are both the same. I view them the same.
Yeah.
But I still haven't had a Stillwater beer in my life. No, I have. I had their yacht, so I can't. I've drank them all now. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where, for me, as a outwardly cynical douchebag, labels matter.
Mm. Yeah.
How about you?
I think they do. To me, there are labels like a lot of times if I'm going to buy a beer, I kind of already had, like, in a weird sense, I'm like, I have heard about this particular beer, and like I'm either looking for a specific beer, or I'm like seeing stuff that just like, all right, I know that brewery, that should probably be good, but like I'm almost like, I almost look immediately past the label in a sense, but at the same time there are breweries like, for example, Flying Dog I drank a whole lot of when I got into craft beer and literally have not had since. And like their labels to me are like, okay, yeah, this is someone who just got into craft beer, but whatever. And I'm not saying I want like the most sophisticated label in the world. I don't want that almanac bottle that's next to you there with the very nice like script letters.
Yeah.
But like I'm now I just looked over at my thing. What caught my eye, I don't particularly like the new bourbon counties. I liked the old with the actual label on them.
See, I love the new Bourbon County labels. I
Really?
think they're one of the most, they're cool. I think people hate change, and I think people
that is also a thing.
I think people like to dump on fucking dump on fucking AB InBev and Goose Island, but I think the new Bourbon County
it's not an
beers,
AB InBev or a Goose Island thing. I'm just like, I kind of like the other one a little bit better. You know?
But I'm going to go a step further. I think that bottle, in the way they labeled it, is one of the coolest, innovative labels I've seen in past 10 years.
No, it definitely is. It is definitely a very innovative design.
Because that's who doesn't
I'm
who doesn't love embossed glass? Actually, I hate the fact that there's a label on the back. I just like the glass because to me, my two favorite fucking labels are fucking West Vitalins, which have no label on them, and and Sam Adams Triple Bock, which is just blue glass with Sam Adams written in script. But the fucking Goose Island ones, embossed glass, and that fucking tag up top. Tell me that's not the smartest marketing thing you've ever seen. You can't mistake that beer at all in any way. Like, not that other beers aren't distinct.
You can't. I could put that anywhere
across a room, and people know what it is.
Yeah.
And you will see that.
I think I'm just being stupid.
Yeah, you will see that protruding tag on the top. You will see that copied. There's going to be like a buffer period where a bunch of people are like, "Oh, we're not going to do that because they did it," but they'll wait enough for people to forget, right? And I'm guessing right around end of summer before the next Bourbon County release, so they get sneaking in before the people remember again. And a few breweries are going to steal that fucking idea because it's so fucking smart. So fucking smart from a marketing standpoint. The first thing I saw it, I was like, oh my God, they're fucking so smart.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I'm like, all right, that's actually not that bad. And I'm not trying to like go back because of what you're saying. I'm just like, I'm literally just staring at it. I'm like, okay, that's actually that's not terrible.
Now the fact that they took a $20 to $24 4-pack and made it a fucking $12 pseudo bomber. Now that I can fucking get angry about and say it. I hate it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Now they're charging me double for the beer. That fucking sucks. But it's actually one of my favorite, because there's another word, labels that
it's my favoritist.
Yeah, most favoritist.
Yeah, most. Anyway, apart from labels, the label itself, I do like waxed top bottles. There's a lot. If I am looking just over at my cellar now, and I like cork and cage bottles as well. I've actually wanted to experiment with corking some homebrew. But
did they teach you bottling and corking and caging in school? Did they go over that?
They didn't, but that's a pretty simple thing. Like there's corkers that you could buy, and the cages are pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, I love waxing bottles. I think that to me is, I love the different color waxing on the 50/50 Eclipse, where they have like the code that then tells you what barrel the beer came out of. If the beer wasn't $30, that would be even better. But I love that marketing ploy of each label, each like wax color is a different barrel. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like to go back to cork and cage, you have written down like cap versus swing top versus cork and cage. I fucking hate swing tops. I think they're cool. They're fun. Like a swing top is like how do I explain it? A swing top is like, it's like good. It's fun in theory. And you're like, swing top, and you're like, okay,
it's
whatever.
Kind of like, I think a swing top for me, it's almost like the bubble wrap of beer. It's got that like really satisfying pop that you don't get off of, like, you get it sort of with a cork, and you don't get it at all with a cap. But it's like that in between. It's like not quite a cork sound of just like pushing back on the tabs, and like it just just flying right off. You know?
Yeah. The problem I have with them is it seems like the material they make the the plastic out of it is very brittle and dry rots very easily. So I don't think it's the best kind of like seal for longevity. Cork and cage, tried and true. The only problem with cork and cage is fucking infection. Cork, for people that don't know, like cork actually carries in it, not all cork, but some cork, and you don't know. You don't know if it's going to infect the beer until the beer touches the cork. Like there's no test to be done on the cork, but some cork can be, I forget the name of the actual like fungus or bacteria, but it can cork a beer, which is make it kind of like a, I don't know how to explain it. It's like a funky oxidation. It's not just a regular basic oxidation.
It's a thing kind of hear of, I think more so in wine. Like people will be like, "Oh, this has the cork was bad," and this.
Yeah, and it happens with beer because I've gotten a bunch of them. So that's the thing. A brewery can produce a whole bunch of beer and throw a bunch of corks in them, and they can screw their whole fucking line up because their beer got corked. So there are pitfalls to it, and corks can fucking dry out if it's shitty cork. Look at fucking Sam Adams Triple Bock. Dude, those corks that are fucking night. Dude, I've probably gone through a case of Triple Bocks in my lifetime, and if I've gotten a cork out of 6 of them, I'm fucking. If I get a cork out of a Triple Bock, it's like I won a fucking lottery. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I run around to people. I'm like, look at it, I got the fucking cork out of the Triple Bock. And these are people like, why are you showing me a cork? Like, what's your problem? It's like, get ecstatic that I got the cork out of the Triple Bock. But I like the whole cork vibe. Now, I think Joe's frozen. Waxing to me is like a double-edged sword. It's how do I put it? I love waxing. I think it works. I think waxing in conjunction with proper caps is about the best you're going to go with trying to prevent oxidation in the long run. Unless you're a beer I had the other day. This is a first for me. I had never had this happen before. A brewery called Crux. It's a fermentation. They call it the Fermentation Project. I think it's actually like a joint venture between a bunch of brewers out in Oregon. And they put in a cork, a cap, and waxed the fucking beer. So it was like fucking, 7th level of fucking hell, Dante's Inferno bullshit trying to get in that motherfucking beer. Anyway, I think that's the way to go. But the problem is a couple things when it comes to wax beers. One, motherfuckers need to get their wax shit on point. Some waxes are like fucking super hard plastic that you can't cut and you can't tear and you can't rip off. Then there's some wax that's so brittle when you start to peel it off, it starts breaking apart like a fucking cracker. You know what I mean? And then there's fucking wax that fucking just is like the perfect consistency of somewhere in between the two. And are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. And there's a perfect consistency between the two, and it just fucking works. So that's my views on generalized waxing. Here's my big fucking issue with waxing. And I'm going to make an analogy that most of you won't get, but I'm going to say it anyway because I can. I still work, but I worked 18 years heavy duty in the tattoo and piercing industry. I was a body piercer, body modification. I did like piercing and implants and all that bullshit. One of the things that we actually, the difference between good and bad body jewelry for the longest time was what's called internally threaded versus externally threaded, which is basically, for those that don't know, a piece of jewelry basically has a ball and then there's a shaft and they screw onto each other. There's a joke being written right now in the comment section. We'll wait for that to chime in with balls and shafts. But and there's 2 ways to make that ball and shaft happen. And one is to screw a hole into the ball and thread the bar, and then the bar screws into the ball. Okay, that's called externally threaded. That's shitty jewelry because in order to put jewelry into a piercing, especially a fresh one, you have to push the barbell through, and if there's threads on it, it like grinds and causes undue trauma and all that bullshit. And then there's internally threaded, where the shaft actually has it kind of tapped to where there's a female part there, and then you have the male part coming out of the ball, and that's good jewelry. Okay, and that way when the barbell slides through the body, it doesn't tear up or do anything like that. So for years, that was like, okay, when people asked what's the difference, I could pretty much say if it's internally threaded, it's good jewelry. But after so long, shitty jewelry companies caught on to this and started making really shitty internally threaded jewelry. So you couldn't just be like, oh, internally threaded jewelry is good, because you'd be like, it was internally threaded now, but the craftsmanship and the material and the metal, the metal makeup and all that shit were just still shitty. So you had to revise what you say. Be like, well, most internal threaded jewelry is good, but then these ones suck, and then you have to get more in depth. But that's how waxing is going now. People are just waxing beers because people will think they are good. They're awesome beers now because they're wax on them. I'm looking at you, Speakeasy. Like, Speakeasy just started waxing just random beers just to make them look like they're fucking cool. Do you know what I mean? With the worst wax ever in the history of mankind. And fucking breweries started doing that. They just, okay, we're putting out a beer that's not meant to be drank, or not meant to be drank. I shouldn't say that. That doesn't have to be drank fresh. Let's just start dipping it, man, because we'll dip it and then we'll have a release. If we hold a release and it's waxed, people will freak out over that shit, and we'll have a beer a bunch of people will sell.
People
or a
will
bunch
pay
of people
more.
buy. Yeah, people will pay more. I mean, there's wax on it, motherfucker. There's fucking wax. So it's almost getting to that point now where it's like, a wax top bottle does not a good beer make. You know what I mean? Good beers that are ageable do have wax on them. Most of them do, but just because they got wax on them doesn't mean they're fucking good fucking beer. So that's kind of like a weird one.
Yeah.
Where I like the whole idea of wax. I like home brewing wax. It's really cool. Like Ryan from Ryan Lubrew just did a tutorial on YouTube of waxing, and it was a cool little short. Yeah, it really did. He did it with really nice. He did it with really nice gold fleck crayons and glue, and it came out really nice. So for those that want to look into it, you can check out his channel. Yeah, I dig that.
These are. I'm gonna shill for a company real quick, just because I have them right here. NostalgicImpressions.com. I got a box of I forget how much I paid for them, but I got a box of purple, and I got a box of red wax beads. And these worked really well. The red is actually what's waxing, what's on the sours.
Okay.
But these, I bought these a couple years back. I was going to use these for for a different beer, but I'm actually going to wax another sour that I'm bottling on Sunday. But yeah, I got those, and those were super easy. I just toss them, little also wax tutorial. Just toss them in a tin can and put them on the stove and stir them around. But this was a big step up from the fucking soy wax bullshit that I used the first time that I ever waxed beer.
Yeah. See, Ryan's usually. Go ahead. Sorry.
Ryan's using like crayons and stuff, right?
Crayons and glue sticks.
Like glue sticks. Okay, these are paraffin wax beads. So the difference between paraffin wax and the soy wax is just the smoothness of it. If it has like a really like silky kind of like not so much silky. If it just has a very smooth touch,
like a plastic, almost like plastic.
Yeah, it's the paraffin, and I personally like that feel a little bit more. But the soy wax was so fucking brittle. I would never go back to that shit.
That was your first barley wine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that shit was like fucking.
Ghetto wax. It had chunks in it.
Yeah, it was like a wafer, like when you crumble a wafer, kind of. It was yeah, no good. It works, but while you were cut off and you're coming back on, I told a story. I reviewed a beer, one of the beers I got from Oregon the other day. It was waxed, it was capped, and it was corked. So it had a wine cork in it. So it was like like a cork to where there was no top to you can grab it. Then a cap, then wax. That brewery's a little fucking OCD about oxidation, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the Cantillon bottle that I had was capped and also corked.
Cantillons are capped and corked, but it's not capped, waxed, and corked. You know what I mean?
Oh, this was waxed. This was corked, then a cap on it, and then
waxed. Yeah. All three. I've had caps and corks. I've had caps.
Mm-hmm.
I've had corks. I've had wax, and then I've had wax and caps. I never had all three together until I had this beer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little.
Yeah, I dig it though.
That is
you know what I mean?
OCD about oxidation. I mean, there's worrying about oxidation, and then there's like being ungodly paranoid about oxidation.
Someone who had the beer wrote on my Instagram. They're like, they're like, how the fuck did you? They're like, how did you? They mentioned the same thing. They're like, oh man, that was the worst beer to get open. I was like, I know. I'm like, and I wrote them. I was kind of hoping a brewery would chime in, but they didn't. I'm like, I'm not sure if they're really OCD about oxidation or they're trolling me. Either way, I'm cool with it. You know what I mean? But then he's like, yeah, but he said the cork was super brittle. Like I barely got it out. But yeah. So we covered.
We take the Nickelbrook instructions of like running it under warm water.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Fucking that was hilarious. Let's see. Where are we at here? What else have we got to cover before we get into a beer review? Wax bottles, labels, and how affect purchase. I think we're done with topic 1. Our first section too. 1. So we're gonna move on to a beer review. Let's do this. You yammer a little bit. Tell people about what beer we're gonna review. I'm gonna go take a little tinkle because that's what grown men do, and I'll be back in a sec.
We're gonna be we're gonna be reviewing Lagunitas Hop Stoopid Ale, 8% to what I'm 102 IBU. Oh, this is stupid. 102 IBU for you. That's really dumb. Lagunitas, I like your beer, but that's fucking stupid. Only other thing on the bottle is OG of 1.085 and 8% ABV. Let's see. Clean this mess up, or else we'll all end up in jail. Those test tubes and the scale, just get them out of here. He was referring to the complex supercritical CO2 hop extraction equipment setup on the table in the loft from the brew house. Hop extracts are for the big brewers, he thought, suitable only for crummy substandard and barely passable industrial lagers. Not the subtle and elegant here, but wrong he was. The new brewer does not eschew any possible inputs. In this case, the extract will replace the mountains of hop vegetative material in the kettle, thus creating cleaner hop flavors and preventing the otherwise spinach-like mess of a kettle full of super hopped wort from clogging up a pump or worse. The sensuous honey-like amber ooze was administered intravenously to the wort kettle, and the sacrament was complete. Another kettle of Hop Stoopid is once again raised up and fermented on high.
Reading the old Lagunitas story.
Reading the old story on there. One thing that I said was pretty fucking stupid is the 102 IBU for you.
Yeah, that's pretty dumb. Dumb with a capital B.
Yeah.
Do we get bottle dates on Lagunitas beers?
I don't know, but that's
I don't know.
Segue into two. There isn't one.
Yeah, I don't know if we do. There might be one on there, but I can't see it. I'm sure somebody will chime in and give us the whole. Yeah. But that's I was curious.
Some of them haven't figured it out somehow.
Yeah, I got mine at a different source, so I don't know how old yours is or whatever. I'm sure they're relatively close.
Where did you get yours?
Wegmans.
Okay. I got mine at Sab's 2 hours ago.
Which
3 hours ago.
Conversely, whatchamacallit, Wegmans just started carrying Almanac, hence the reason I got it. Almanac, and they just started carrying a fucking AleSmith. So that doesn't suck.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it does not.
Yeah, and AleSmith prices they're like, the Almanac Bomber IPA, really nice solid IPA, cost me fucking $6.49. That doesn't suck. And then
No.
And then almost every AleSmith beer, they had Horny Devil, they had Grand Cru, they had Speedway Stout, maybe another one. They're all $12.99 for a $7.50 of fucking amazing beer. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? So yeah, I mean, you know what she looks like? She looks like an IPA, very clear.
Yeah.
Subtle like.
Yeah, I have a bit of haze on mine.
It is, but it's like clear. It's not haze though. It's like individual particulates floating around. You can actually see the bits and pieces. It's not like a soft blur. It's almost like bits and pieces in mine.
No, I have the soft blur haze. I don't really have particulates in there.
And mine has like this like awesome snow globey upside down fucking snow carbonation thing going on to where it's like the gentlest carbonation in the history of mankind.
I've got that, yeah.
And then let's see. Other than that, Finger, Rocky Head, you know what I mean, just off white, somewhere south of Keck. Yeah, looks like an IPA. Let's get a nose in this motherfucker. Pine.
Smell.
Pininess.
It smells like hot pellets.
To me, it's sweet hot pellets. I think there's a bit of sweetness there. There should be a decent malt base to this sucker. I've had it before, but I don't remember much about it. Actually, the last time
this is, I think, one of the few Lagunitas beers that I haven't had.
Last time I had this, I haven't had it for quite a while. Last time I had this was actually, I know exactly when I had this. It was Valentine's Day, because we actually did oh no, I don't remember. 2 weeks before Valentine's Day, we did a show on coffee on the radio show, and we filtered a beer through several different coffees, and we used Hop Stoopid as the beer to filter through it. So it was all through coffee, so it wasn't what it was intended to taste like. Let's put it that way. So, yeah, I'm getting sweet pine, nice malt base pine. It's not over the top. It doesn't smell like overly bittering. It smells like it's going to be a bit biting. It smells West Coast, but it also smells like it's got a nice sweetness to it. So I don't know. It smells good.
Yeah, it smells really good.
Cheers. Wow, that's sweet.
Yeah,
I dig it.
sweet.
I dig it. You know,
Not really bitter.
no, it's like sweet pine, man. It's cool. It's like it's giving you the classic West Coast IPA, but without the palate smacking dryness on the back end.
Yeah, which I really like.
Yeah. Yeah, I dig it. I mean, for me, I'm a Lagunitas guy. I mean, they get a lot of shit because they're everywhere and they sold out. But I mean, it's one of those beers where if I'm at a bar that's not necessarily a craft bar, but chances are they're going to have a Lagunitas on draft, and 9 times out of 10, that's the beer I'm going to fucking order when I'm in that situation. You know what I mean? And I'm going to enjoy it. Not to be like, fuck, I got to drink Lagunitas tonight. You know what I mean? I love brown sugar. I love Old Gnarly Wine. I love a bunch of their beers. Some of their baseline stuff is really good too. I just think a lot of times we take it for granted.
Little something something. I love that beer.
Yeah, and their price point is always bonkers.
Yeah.
I think what did I pay for this? $5.50 or something like
I paid
that.
the exact same price.
Yeah, so it's like
$5.50.
a $5.50 for a bomber of a really fucking nice beer. You just can't go wrong. So yeah, I mean, is it gonna rewrite the history books or kind of earth-shattering change the way people think about IPAs? No. But if you're into if you like West Coast influenced beers, but that over bitterness and dryness on the back, that is kind of a calling card to a lot of old school West Coast IPAs. If that's not what you want, but you still want that kind of pine vibe, then this would be, It almost, you know what this is? This to me is like a light version of an American barley wine, like a super light, like a sessioned American barley.
Yeah, this is like, just keeping it in terms of Lagunitas, it's like a session gnarly wine.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty much exactly what it is. I mean, granted, 8% is not session, but you know what we're trying to say. So yeah, I dig it. I'm a fan.
So do I. I love that. I like, for the longest time when I was doing video reviews, every single time I did an IPA, I always said this, and I always said that I sound like a broken record, but it's not very bitter. But I'm also super acclimated to bitterness. So someone who is new into IPAs, which at this point in craft beer is like pretty fucking slim. You either have to not like them at all to never have had one, or want like zero to do with, like, you either have to not like IPAs or just want nothing to do with them. Like, you've tried one, hate them, or doesn't sound like something I would be into, to not have even had one at this point. So like, the whole, if you've never had an IPA before, this might be a little bit much for you, is kind of, as I'm saying it, I'm like, this sounds really fucking ridiculous. You know?
No, I get it, man. Like, it's just like, how haven't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. It's a solid beer. It's good. The price point's awesome. It's something I would definitely buy again. And fucking, this would be like a keep in the fridge or bring to a barbecue and just something like an emergency beer. I don't know why that's weird.
Do they do this in smaller bottles as well?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it in a smaller bottle.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. I would bring, like, this, ideally for me to bring this somewhere, I would be going somewhere that I know someone's going to split this with me. But if it were in smaller bottles, I would have zero problem bringing it to like a barbecue or something like that, you know? But like, bringing a bomber, I was like, all right, this is now we're now going into a team effort here, you know?
Yeah. But good beer. That's all I have to
just
say. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. Lagunitas Hop Stoopid. Doesn't suck. That's my official opinion. Let's see. We're gonna move on to second topic. How is longevity? We're gonna talk longevity in general. In Cork and Cage beers, dating, a little bit of dating talk, and just kind of, I guess I would say, aging, a subtle aging of beer. We're not going to talk about just aging in general, but aging with the container in mind. Let's put it that way, as opposed to just aging with beer in mind. I guess that's kind of the cusp of the discussion.
Yeah, I think so.
You want to go first or what?
Sure, I will. I'm gonna jump just because I have it right here, and I think it's hilarious. This review hasn't come up yet on my website. It probably will sometime this week. I say all the time, and then it never happens, but that's beside the point. Bottle dates or vintage dates on a bottle. We touched on this in an episode. Doesn't take too long. Put a breweries. There's at this point in the game, there is literally no reason to not date any bottle. You know, even if you're not intending your beer to be had super fresh, there's no reason to not have it on there. And I'm gonna call out. I'm gonna call them out in my review of it as well. But the bottle was within arm's reach. I didn't have to get up off my stool to get it. So, Stoll Artisan Ales in Pittston, brewed out of Susquehanna Brewing Company.
I think we have a same argument brewing here.
There's no assumption there. I know it's brewed in Susquehanna. This is their Green Life IPA. On the side here, now the label is a little scrunched. On the side, it says best enjoyed fresh. Do not age. And just so people know that I'm not lying, it's right there, right where my finger is. Big ass letters, fresh. Then, when I was first drinking this, I'm looking around on the bottle, and there's no fucking date.
Yeah.
Now, I bought this in 17, and I'm pretty sure I've seen the fucking SBC trucks go all the way around. I don't know. I'm pretty sure they have Soul doing their own distribution, and I don't know who they distribute through. But I'm assuming that when I reviewed this beer, it was fairly fresh. Given Lindo's reputation for wanting fresh IPAs and all like being really up on that kind of shit. But if you are gonna fucking put on your label, best enjoyed fresh, do not age, on somewhere else, on the same label, on the bottle itself, on the neck fucking label, put a date. It's not hard. It's fucking common sense. And it's absolutely nonsensical, and it makes the do not age. Sorry, do not fresh.
Do not fresh. That's an awesome like a hipster band that plays only like 90s R&B music.
Yeah. If you're gonna take the time to put best enjoyed fresh, do not age on your bottle, but then not date it, it now makes you look stupid.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, dude. I totally agree because I have the same rant. I touch on bottle dating a lot, but I don't go bonkers over it because there's people that do that on the internet already. I don't have to fucking cover that subject. But same exact thing. I had. It's funny because Soul just did a collaboration with this brewery. My buddy Harry was coming up. He had to go to Allentown to get a vegan cake from Vegan Treats, and on his way back, he stopped at was it not High Drinks? It was Funk Brewing in Emmaus, and he brought me back their Citra IPA, I believe it was, and it was a really good beer. I enjoyed it. Came from the brewery, so odds are on favor that it's fresh as fuck. But at the same time, exact same thing. It says do not age, drink fresh, and 0 date. And that's the thing. Like shit like that is just like, okay, I understand why breweries won't date stuff because they don't.
A little here's. I just want to, before we get into this a little bit more, there is a little bit of a qualifier. There's certain breweries, Founders, for example. I've bought 4-packs where, say, 1 or 2 of the bottles in the 4-pack are dated, but the other ones are not. But if I'm buying the full 4-pack, I trust that all of those beers are within the same bottling run.
Yeah, and there's a lot of old school like German breweries who just date the cases and not the actual bottles themselves.
That's fine. If I'm buying in bulk, if the date's just on the case, I don't mind that. If it's on the if it's on 1 or 2 bottles in the 4-pack itself, that's fine. And I have not bought another Green Life to see if maybe one of them is dated, but I'm gonna hazard a guess that they're not.
No, I doubt it. I doubt it.
Pure speculation.
It seems like
that they are.
It seems like a very common tale with new breweries that they forget the bottle date shit. I mean, unless they're super like, especially when places are pushing the IPA, double IPA, usually go out of the way to date it because a lot of beer people, beer tubers or beer junkies or beer traders kind of use the freshness date as a badge of honor to be like, oh, this is only 2 days old. Oh, drain pour. You know what I mean? So it's like they do it on purpose for that reason. But you have companies that
like when I was at Theme Whistle, that's what I did. I posted a picture of their beer. It was
minutes old.
It was like an hour old.
Yeah, which is literally the only.
I could not have any pressure.
I've actually heard from sources that are on the internet that Steam Whistle, once it's over an hour old, it sucks. So you just hit it right at its good mark. That window, that 1 hour window. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Again, you know what I mean? For dating purposes, like if you're gonna age beer, I want a date because I want to know when it started. Sure, I can get a wax fucking pencil and write the dates on everything, but guess what? I'm fucking lazy. So put a date on it. It's like I want to make a parody song for BeerTube. Instead of put a ring on it, put a date on it. You know what I mean? Do like a Beyonce thing or dancing like put a date on it. Yeah. But it's like it's so simple. It doesn't take much. Just do it. You know what I mean? Just fucking put a date on the fucking thing. Anyway, that's all I want to. That's as much as I want to give to dating. It's ad nauseum at this point. Everybody talks about it. Some people talk about it all the time. Whatever. Now we're getting on. So we talked about dating. We're talked about waxing versus non-wax bottles and cork and cage. I've had absolutely fantastic non-wax bottles that have aged fine. I've had fucking cork and cage bottles that age fine and are horrible. Actually, I've had every wax, cork, and cage, ones that have aged beautifully, some that have aged horribly. I think a lot of it comes to not how they're bottled, but how they're taken care of once they're in possession. I'm going to go a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit outside of that. I think from an oxidation standpoint, packaged oxygen is a pretty big deal, and if you can minimize the amount of oxygen that goes into the packaged beer, before it's even sealed, you're ahead of the game. And a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, that's fucking, like, why are you even mentioning that? That's common in all areas. That's something, I think it's kind of a almost thing that like people don't necessarily think about. They think of more oxidation issues tend to stir or come about post bottling. This is something that's been in the bottle for 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2, 3, 4 years. That's that whole thing. This is something either like slightly aged, extensively aged. I think if you can get the least amount of oxygen possible going into the bottle, then you're good. And not everybody can do that. I know, I understand that, some of it it could be a pretty expensive process to, super minimize that. But, yeah, I think a lot of...
You can minimize issues down the road, but...
I think a lot of oxidation I think a lot of it comes from capping issues. I don't think a lot of people put thought into that. If you think a cap's on it, you're good to go. And I've learned over the years that some companies are have awesome capping. The old O'Hanlon fucking Hardy bottles cap fucking awesome. Sammy Claus bottles are capped awesome. J.W. Lee's really spotty fucking capping, man. There's I've had J.W. Lee's that are great. I've had the same year. I've had a 2001 that was awesome, and let me put it this way. I've had 5 2001s that were awesome, and I've had 5 that suck ass. So there's some companies that are just, their capping is old stocks. Their capping system, North Coast, their capping is on point. So I think a lot of people overlooked that. They go, oh, cap is bad, cap is good. No, I think there's different capping. You know what I mean? There's good caps and bad caps, and some people kind of chintz on the caps, and it kind of just, if you're going to make an ageable beer, don't fucking chintz on the caps. Yeah.
And you were talking about how it's treated after it's bottled, and
how the consumer, once they get possession of the bottles,
more on,
and they're going to age them
when it's on the shelf of the store a lot, and now they're aging it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, when stuff sits I actually usually don't have much of an issue when beers sit at a distributor, because 9 times out of 10, when a beer sits at a distributor, it probably didn't get moved all that much since the day it fucking landed there. They probably put it on some shelf somewhere, and it's in a box, and it's sitting there. The only time it ever got jostled is if boxes were thrown on top of it because it got fucking forgotten. So I usually don't have issues with distributors. More so bottle shops. Yeah, bottle shops that have like big windows and shit like that, and they have beers sitting there and they don't give a shit. They're just putting them on display, and you don't know how they're treated. You don't even temperature wise and all that stuff, which is whatever. I'm not a big temperature Nazi with aging. Keep me below 70 and above 40, and I'm pretty okay with things. It's when the actual consumer itself, individuals get it. Like, I've seen it, man. Like, I've gotten aged beers from people, and I know I drink it and they're off, and I know, I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure this person like kept it in their basement, but they kept it next to their fucking furnace and they don't know any better. Or like on the flip side, I got an aged barley wine I bought off of a website, and the dude, you could tell the second he got the beers, he wrapped them in he wrapped the caps. They're all capped, no corks. He wrapped them all with fucking electrical tape really tight, and then he put them in styrofoam containers. You could tell the beers were sitting in the styrofoam shippers for a long time. And then every single one of those beers, all fucking 12 or 13 of them, they had natural, what I like to call natural oxidation, which brings out flavors that I want to have in there as opposed to negative oxidation. So you could tell, like, all these beers are fucking awesome. And because they were treated correctly, and there's different levels to it. It's not just, you know what I mean? It's not just a brewery thing, I guess is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not. I had that little bit in at the start. There is I showed my cellar a little while ago. There's the only real light is in. There's 3 small windows. The one that's right on top of the beer is covered by shrubs. So that's the front yard. So no light, or minimal at best, is getting in from there. The second one, the side of the house, doesn't really see the sun all too much. So apart from just natural light, comes in from there, and the other one is too far away to even matter. And it's a good temperature down here. I remember when I gave you the 09 Three Philosophers. You know, I think you mentioned in the review, you're like, I know he's like takes really good care of beers, and I do. Since I've started aging beer, I've really wanted to, like, I went as far until I got both shelves. I had a tarp over my my one shelf for the longest time.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, honestly, like, and this is just me, like, having experience in your cellar, even though, like you said, you have that one window, and the window that I remember is like against your side of your house. There's a huge fence there. There's no direct sunlight coming in there. It's ancillary, and it's dark. I've been down there during afternoon brew days with no lights on. It's fucking dark as fuck. But it's not so much the light that I'm worried about, even though light sucks. And it can be a killer. Is that I've been in your basement in summer and winter, and it's pretty consistent. And it reminds me of what I like to think a basement would be like. And this is Pennsylvania, kind of to a T. A basement would be like in England or Europe, and that it kind of always has. It's not moldy, damp, but it's not dry as could be, and it's always temperate. Like, it's always like, I'll come to your house, and, you know, I'm a profuse sweater in general, you know what I mean? And like, I'll come to your house, and when you go to Joe's house, it's typically a 20-30 minute minimum conversation with the family, if not an hour and a half to 2 hour dinner at first. And then after, and then after you're done doing those things, you go to the basement and you drink some beer, and the temperature, I'll be up there like bursting into flames, sweating, and then I'll go downstairs where there's no air conditioning, and it's just comfy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your basement is pretty rock solid as far as sans flooding and natural catastrophe.
Sans the flooding.
And it's pretty rock solid when it comes to a place to age beers. And I think that's a whole. I think as a Pennsylvania as a whole, if you go in a jet stream and follow a certain line, you're gonna get that. You know what I mean? Same thing with England. Same thing. You go from England down to Belgium, stuff like that. It's about temperatures. We don't get above 90 much here. We don't get below 0 much here, which means our cellars typically range from 40 to 70, which is my fucking wheelhouse. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
in the winter. Beers down here the bottles will be cold to the touch, and in the summer they're typically cool to the touch. They're not like ice cold. But it's a very nice, like, granted, Amanda's always fucking cold.
No, she's a girl. She doesn't count.
Yeah. So when we would do reviews down here, she would always be like in one of my sweatshirts, and I'm just down here in a t-shirt, but that's also that's a different story. But I never felt a problem. I never felt like there was a problem. Even fermenting my beers down here. I've had beers that are super active, and I've had beers that aren't very active down here at different times of the year. I typically avoided brewing in the winter, mostly because I like to do it outside. So I would do a lot of my brewing in the summer. But couple weeks, like almost a month ago at this point, not a month ago, I brewed 2 beers. First beer, airlock activity was minimal. Second beer, airlock was going fucking crazy, and I kind of attribute that a little bit more to yeast, but that's not the point. I've never felt the need to do any kind of secondary heating down here. It's kind of a perfect, the basement is kind of a perfect temperature to do just about everything. Fermentation and aging, kind of all in one.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay. I got one more subject I'm really passionate about. Then I think I'm done with with the topics as a whole. And then if you want to open it up, we'll figure it out then. But and this is the only thing I have left. Okay, and it's gonna be short and fucking sweet. So I'm pretty tolerant guy. You know what I mean? Like I can, I love hating shit. Don't get me wrong. I love me some hate.
That's well known.
So I love hating stuff, but at the same time, if people want to do what they want, they can do what they want. Okay. But, and this is going to fucking happen. And when it happens, I'm going to murder somebody. I am just counting the days, and I might do it myself just to start an internet firestorm of epic proportions. I'm waiting for someone to wax a can. It's going to fucking happen. You know it's going to happen. The what?
All right. Okay. I thought it froze again.
No. Yeah. Someone's going to wax a fucking can. You know it. Someone's going to wax a fucking can. They're going to do it. Just to do it. Like, make it be like, oh, look at this crazy wax can. And I'm going to kill them. They'll die from my hand. Unless it's me that does it just to fuck with people.
You heard it here, probably one person that's watching.
Actually, this is our most viewed La Beer Radio ever.
Really?
Yeah.
How many people?
I think we had 8 viewers for pretty much 90% of the show.
Fuck.
Yeah, pretty consistent. Right now 6, but it's I know.
Usually we're just talking to ourselves.
Somebody's gonna fucking wax a can of beer. I know it. There's gonna be somebody, and this kind of leads me into it's just
hipster bullshit motherfucker is gonna.
And this is the only other thing I have with packaging, and it kind of I don't know if it goes along with that. Is I'm starting to see a lot of beers that shouldn't be canned. Okay. I'm starting to see. I've drank Russian Imperial Stouts, bourbon barrel aged beers, big, huge 14, 12, 13, 14% beers barrel aged in cans. Now, those I personally don't believe though they should be canned for a couple of reasons. One, it's to me, I'm not a big proponent of aging barrel aged beers for super long haul, but I'm cool for up to 3 to 5 years. And two, who the fuck you want to share?
Okay. Like, here's the funny statement about that.
What?
I'm not into aging barrel aged beers for a super long haul. Then you said, 3 to 5 years, which was this. I had now the same reaction that my friend Ian had when I said, "Yeah, this beer I'm brewing is kind of lower ABV. It's 8%."
No, to me, long haul aging is 10 to 20 years. That to
Yeah.
me is long haul aging. You know what I mean? Like, think about it, man. Like, we talked about Brad bringing a 95 Santa Claus. That was fucking 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Or, no, 20 and change. Sorry. But it's, long haul is 10 to 20. To me, barrel aged beer is 3, preferably, but it's okay to go 5. So I'm not, one, I don't want to age a can that long. And two, let's say you decide not to and you crack it. Who the fuck doesn't you want to share a fucking can that big? So let's say you don't have it to share. I'm okay with saving a beer for a couple days if you got the correct capper on it. So you can't cap a fucking can. You know what I mean? You crack it, you drinking it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
They're now packages that you have to consume right then and there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there's no like longevity to it. And again, it's not like you're trying to keep a beer for weeks. But there's sometimes when I review a beer, like I'm like, okay, I don't want to drink this whole thing tonight, and I'll throw a stopper in it or something like that, and I'll wait a day, maybe 2.
The bomber bottle, I typically did not review by myself. I liked to review a bomber with at least one other person, which is why I have so many bombers. Like there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to review but just couldn't get at the time. Now I could just send you a picture and be like, when are we doing this? But at the time before I met you, I had to really like time when I wanted to do certain beer reviews,
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I want to do a couple beers in a night, I got to get a couple 12-ounce bottles that I really want to open and I really want to review that night. And if it's a can of a 14% beer, that's my only review for the night. I'm like, I don't want to get like drunk as hell by going, with a couple like 7% or 8% imperial stouts on top of then a 14% beer, and I have to drink the 14% beer because I opened it and it's in a can.
Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think? Are you done? Or do you have more to talk about, or what?
Topic wise, I think we hit it all. I think.
You want to open this shit up, or you just want to go home? You want to open this up, or you just want to sign off?
What time is it?
9:30, 9:55.
Let's just sign off. If it was a little earlier, I'd open it up. But
okay, well, I'm gonna open it up. You can leave. Just
fair enough.
I was trying to be
if
nice.
You're opening up. All right.
I'll open it up, and then you can bounce whenever you feel free. Just only because I'm in a talking mood, and this
is actually a good one to.
Yeah, because I think we can get some positive feedback. See, the problem with opening it up is that it takes a bit for people to sign in sometimes because they don't get the message right away. So, let's put it here. Join your team.
I also have the rest of this bomber and then Maduro that I opened up before the review to go through. So I got a little while to. I got some stuff to drink. So
Yeah, and whatchamacallit, I was gonna say, what the fuck was I just gonna say? Wow, I really blanked on that. Oh, people out there, if you ever want it, because I had someone on Instagram looking to asking if they could join one day, and I'm gonna get back to them. I told them I talked to you first, obviously, but
okay.
anybody out there thinks they can contribute. This is yes, we can get a little bit weird and boozy and drunk at times, but if you think you have something to contribute, if you want to talk beer and not just get crunk or what's the other word, turnt. I think turnt is the good one. I like that one. It's made for turnt.
I think turnt is what the kids say nowadays.
Yeah, that's what those whippersnappers say. And you want to contribute, man? Just let us know. I have I send out messages to people. I'm not going to post it just on the comment section or anywhere else, just so randos can't join. But if you ever want to join, send us a mail at lovebeerradio@gmail.com. Let us know. Typically, I send out the messages via Facebook. So if you don't have Facebook, you should look. But if you want to join, let me know, and then we'll shoot you a link for a little after show goodness. Like this show, we went 8 to 9. So on this show, we went about an hour and 40 minutes. Typically, shows range anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on what we're doing, depending on if there's a beer,
depending on the topic and how
beer,
long we feel like talking.
Yeah, and but at the end, we usually like to open it up most times to people who just want to chime in. I think this is a good one because there's so many different. I think people are inherently.
This is definitely a good one to keep the topic going. For
Yeah,
a little bit and see
a lot of
what
people
other people have to say.
I think people have opinions about style and substance because I mean we all like to think we're not shallow people, and I don't think we are, but in the same sense, I don't think judging a book by its cover is inherently shallow. Yes, if I understand, I'm a huge proponent for fucking equal rights. I'm not going to sit here and talk about like waxing liberal on shit, but fuck, sexism, fuck, gender, fucking hate, fuck racism and stuff like that. But at the same time, stereotypes exist for a reason, and I'm not saying that to be a bigot or a racist, but there's certain people look at me and they see this guy loves beer and he's an awesome driver, and well, guess what, baby, that's the truth. But no, like sometimes stereotypes exist for a reason, so we're drawn to the outsides of things. Perfect example, dating, and whether you're a man or a woman, you don't look across the room, lock eyes with a woman and go, I think she's really cool in her brain. You know what I mean? You go, that fucking girl's hot. I'm going to go talk to her and see if there's cool shit inside her brain. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like, oh man, I think that girl would be a great conversationalist. No, you don't think that. Yes, if you meet somebody and you end up talking to them and they end up being super fucking cool mentally, that can make you attracted to them. But if there's an instant attraction, it's because of what's on the outside. So I think we're inherently drawn to what we see. So I think labels and bottles and the whole thing is a fun thing for people to fucking get down with. I don't know if you're frozen or not, or now I know because I see.
No, I'm not frozen.
Yeah. So anyway, what's your favorite? Give me some of your favorite beers as far as labeling, design, the whole nine. Like, do you have ones that you're like, okay, I love this one, I love that one, I love this one, yada yada yada.
New Weyerbacher. I really like the revamped labels that they did compared to their old ones. I think it just gives an extra dimension to their beers. And I know you don't like Jesters in any format, but I think the new Jester is tenfold better than the last one.
Company shill, just trying to get a job. I'm fucking with you.
But just, it's so easy to do this in my beer cellar because I could just look over. I love Duclaw's logo, like the way that they have Duclaw on their beers, especially on the Obel, just because it's written in gold and like gold lettering. That looks really cool. One thing that I kind of started to like, I was never able to get a bottle, but the old Imperial Russian Stout from Stone had the Russian like hat, like winter hat thingy
Yeah.
on it, and I think that was a cool touch to that label. But they don't do that anymore for one reason or another, and I think the beer itself is. I think the label is lessened for it because I think it was just an interesting little touch to a beer. The a neat beer that I picked up when I was in my first interview at Old Saratoga, the Death Wish Dream Pie has like a baker with like a skull face, and that's a pretty neat label. I loved for a long time. I liked speakeasy stuff because I was into the whole like mafia thing, like mafia history and all that kind of bullshit before. But I don't know, their labels are kind of meh. I liked Flying Dog for a little while, but I think their label, if there's any brewery that I think could use a revamping of their labels, I think it's Flying Dog. I don't know. Just something about them to me seems like I've just gotten into craft beer and here's Flying Dog.
Yeah, no, I get that. They have this like a different kind of Duclaw vibe. It's like splatters, extreme splatters. Let's just splatter stuff.
Yeah,
and it's cool, and everything's kind of meh.
It's like you're saying of like the Belgian monastery. It's like, oh, Brother Joseph, you can draw. Well, Brother Joseph was sick that day, and Brother Francis drew.
Yeah, at Flying Dog, they're like
they came out like shit.
At Flying Dog, instead of Brother Joseph, it's UFC Rob. They're like, UFC Rob, draw us up a label. And he's like, yeah, man, there's fucking splatters all over it, man. It's fucking cool, bro. Yeah, for fucking me, man.
It's like, this dog looks like it's a stick figure, but it's not. It's like,
yeah,
no, it looks
it's
fucking stupid.
Crazy. I'm trying to think for me, man.
I gotta run to the bathroom, so
yeah,
I'll be right back.
I'll talk. Yeah, a lot of my favorite labels. I start off like a lot of Belgians, man. Rochefort, love that shit. Well, West Beetledens are, to me, the embossed glass bottle with no label and a fucking color-coded cap. That shit is just straight up fucking sex on a fucking platter. And a lot of the Belgian stuff, like the like I said, the Basin. The fucking Rocheforts are my favorite. England-wise, I don't know if I like Thomas Hardy labels because they're good, or I like them because the beer is just the best in the world. Let's see, what else? Fuck, I'm trying to think. Spacing out. American-wise, I hate fucking Duclaw. I hated Duclaw for a long time, and I still don't like their labels, but I like their fucking beer now, so I shut up about hating their labels. Flying Dog sucks balls. Let's see. America, well, not America. Let's North America. Duda Ciel. They're the best labels. They win. It's not even in a fucking argument. Right, Lee? Fucking Duda Ciel. They're the fucking best. Yeah, shut your mouth, all right. They're fucking fantastic.
I like them.
Yeah?
It depends on the picture. Some of them are pretty badass. Some of them are just, oh, I'm a 17-year-old girl who likes drawing fantasy pictures in art class.
Nah, whatever. Let me finish my list and you can rant and rave about that one. Let's see. Fucking, what else? Who else fucking does it for me, label? I am a total dime store whore for screen printing. So, like, Coronado and fucking Stone and, like, a bunch of companies that pretty much, like, AleSmith. that are like screen print companies. Like they do it for me. I don't know what it is about screen print. I don't know if it's a texture thing. It fucking does it for me. There's so many, man. I'm like totally spacing now. I wish I had bottles to look at to fucking talk about how awesome shit is. That's all I can think of right now. I don't even know. Oh, Treehouse's cans are cool. Kane's labels. Kane Overhead IPA is one of the coolest labels I've ever seen. There's all kinds of good shit. But yeah. So anyway, what's up with you, Lee?
Not much, just sort of killing some time. I did see the discussion, and I was like, oh, I do have a label to show that was one of my all-time favorite labels. It's from a defunct beer, but I'll put it in the chat here.
It's not safe for TV, or?
Well, I don't know if I... Okay, let's try screen share here. See if that works. Screen share. Entire screen. Share. Okay, we're sharing, and then we'll go over to here. Can you guys see that?
No.
No? Damn it.
Nope.
No, and I actually don't see anything in the chat. Did you put it in there yet?
Let's see here. There you go.
Okay, here we go. Let's see what we got here. Sharp Angus Hemp Ale.
Yeah.
That's a cool fucking label.
Yeah, that was back from the late 90s. It was just like a really sort of short-term beer that Propeller here in Nova Scotia made. They actually made it like contract brewed it for a hemp shop that was in the city. But it was like just there was no other labels out there that looked even remotely as cool as this one. So it's one of my all-time favorite ones.
Yeah, no, that's a cool fucking label. I love the. I don't want to say he's actually. I was gonna say knee jerk. I was gonna say creepy old dude, but he's not creepy. I'd like to hang out with that guy and drink a couple of fucking beers with him.
Yeah,
he's got some fucking stories to tell.
I think it's a real photo of like a turn of the century ship captain of some sort. I think it's the guy who was the original captain of the original Blue Nose, if I recall correctly. I might be wrong totally about that. So no one getting my shit about that shit.
So let's talk about fucking. You want to talk about Dave, or you just not want to give that motherfucker any airtime?
No, fuck that shit.
Okay. What's new, man? You have any good beers or anything like that, or are you just kind
of? Not there. There's nothing really all that exciting. Garrison here in Nova Scotia re-released their black IPA and changed the formula a bit, and it's slightly better. That's about the most exciting news. I mean, like I'm pretty pathetic for staying up with what's going on beer-wise, even in my home province these days. So I don't necessarily get to hunt down or try any of the exciting shit. So
nice.
Just trying to find some more.
Lee, have you heard of? Have you ever had anything from Grimross Brewing?
No, I have heard of them, but I've never had.
The only reason I ask, a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
Where are they out of, Joe?
Oh, never mind. They're out of New Brunswick. Sorry. I thought they were in Nova Scotia.
There's so many breweries around here now. Like apparently, there's going to be like the estimate like 40 new breweries opening up or something like that this year alone. It's absolutely crazy the amount of breweries that they're starting up for the relatively small amount of land mass in population. So.
Yeah, that brewery's in Fredericton, New Brunswick. I thought they were. My friend that works there is originally from Nova Scotia, and I just assumed that it was in there.
I know Nick, Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews, he probably's had Grim Ross, I imagine, because he's in New Brunswick.
Okay.
I posted another one here. I don't even know if they make this beer anymore, but this is one we used to be able to get. Caledonian 80.
Caledonian 80. It's very, I don't know, Boddington's-like?
Yeah, it is sort of, in a way. This is one of those really simplistic, minimalist, sort of British bitter ales fucking labels, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of like my thing about like I don't know if I like Hardy's because the beer's that awesome or the label's cool, but I think the label's cool because it'll never not be good. Like there's a lot of cool labels that in like 20, 30 years either direction you're like, meh, whatever. You know what I mean? But there's like timeless greatness.
Yeah, I mean, you know, having the beer be fucking super awesome doesn't help, or I mean, doesn't hurt with the overall aesthetic value of drinking it and going, yeah, this label's pretty fucking kick-ass. Yeah, right on.
Now, do you think if you drink a beer and you were kind of all right on the label when you were buying it, and then you like the beer, or conversely dislike the beer, do you think you'll like or dislike the label more?
I could definitely see that, like, subconsciously sort of happening. I mean, we're kind of weird that way as fucking creatures, the way our brains work sometimes. So, like, you know, if you see a certain thing, some sort of image graphically represented, and you associate that with, I want to fucking puke my fucking guts out, then no matter what, you're probably not going to like it. But let's see, what else do I have? A few beer pictures here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like labels. It's like so hard on the spot now that I'm trying to think of labels that I fucking love. Distil's labels, especially when they get into their bigger beers. Like Distil Cerise looks like fucking what fucking. When you look at it, you think you're watching Miami Vice. We'll have to fucking find a fucking picture of it.
I just got my buddy for his birthday the Distill Quad.
Yeah, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, this fucking label is just cheesy fucking laser sex, man. It's so fucking cool.
I actually really like the label of that IPA you had there earlier, that green labeled one there.
Oh, the almanac. It had like old school, like almost like cholo pinstripe fucking lettering.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that kind of style.
I like the one you have there too, is right now. But the one before that, I like that combination of like just very minimalist, but at the same time like very artistic. It sort of, jumps into both those categories.
Yeah, I put the steel one in the chat. There's so many good labels. The best label, like I said, for me, Westfield's and fucking Triple Bock. That cobalt blue Triple Bock bottle that's fucking just like screaming blue. Even though when you pour it, it still looks black because there's so much fucking crud on the inside of the fucking bottle, you can't even fucking see through it. Once you wash it out and it's that beautiful, bright, vibrant cobalt blue with the gold lettering on it, that shit is just fucking timelessly awesome. I know Nick likes that shit. Whatever, he's muted.
You're muted, Nick. Yeah. I like that Distill label.
Yeah, it reminds me of Miami Vice. It's lasers and pumps, fuck me pumps, and fucking disco floors. You know what I mean? But like in a cocaine kind of way. I dig it.
Or just that sort of like it looks like the album cover to like a throwback retro 80s synth pop album that you see all these days, all these bands doing that sort of music.
Yeah. I'm trying to think off the top. Oh, you know who makes fucking killer labels? Let me see if I can find this. This is a fucking great label. I know this makes for great fucking internet because all you people can't see this shit, so whatever.
Makes for even better podcast.
Yeah.
Audio-wise.
Let's see. This is the after hours portion, so I'm not too fucking upset. Let's see. This let's see. This company called Trillium out of Boston. The beer was mediocre, but they actually made it's called Sinister Kid, and
that label was
it's
pretty
creepy, man. It's like a creepy. It's a creepy doll. It's a creepy doll.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those old kind of, I don't know, it's a Cupid kind of doll with its eyes missing and kind of all fucking tattered and fucked up. That was a cool fucking label.
One of them fucking dolls where you think you've shut its fucking eyes and then they open again and stare into your soul.
Yeah, that kind of shit. That was a good one. I remember that one. I was like, ooh. I think I think I graded the beer. I lost the review, but I think I graded it a little bit higher and actually said I graded it higher because the label was too cool not to like it. Like, I'm like, the beer's okay, but I'm going to give it a couple extra points because the label's that fucking good.
And I also don't want it to kill me in my sleep.
Exactly. Oh, what else? Oh, my God. I'm trying to think. I'm like mentally envisioning all the empty beers downstairs. Here's one. Kane's Overhead. It's super simple. Super simple label. Let's see.
How you doing, Nick?
Not too bad. You?
Good. Joe was asking earlier, have you ever had anything from Grimross?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Well, I haven't had anything from them since like 2013, so that was the year that they started out. But everything I've had from them has been pretty decent. They're kind of like a New Brunswick-based Belgian-style brewery, right? But, I mean, it's obviously not as good as what you would get out of Belgium, but it's a pretty decent attempt.
Yeah, my friend's the I think he's the brewmaster there now.
Oh yeah.
And it's really funny that he's brewing Belgian beers because he lived in England for a little while, and his philosophy on beer is if you can't drink it warm, it's not worth drinking.
Good philosophy to have.
Yeah.
Like from a graphical standpoint, check out this label. I fucking love these cans.
Let's see here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, they're right on the ocean. Like, you're like literally 2 minutes away from the ocean when you're at the brewery. Yeah, they nail. It's the first time they ever did cans, and all their labels are usually like Belgian style stuff. But yeah, something about them, they just fucking nailed that can. It's so fucking pretty.
Right on.
I take it the topic is awesome beer labels.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about like basically about just marketing and beer marketing label wise. You know what I mean, or bottle wise, from cans to bottles and that whole kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like okay. to me, like one of the better labels, and they suck, is fucking Flying Monkeys. Like Flying Monkeys, like boxes and labels kind of suck, but in a really good way because they draw your eye.
Flying Monkeys labels look like someone just threw up on a beer label.
Yeah, but
it's like.
But it intrigues you. You know what I mean? It intrigues you enough to look at it.
Their website is no better. It looks like someone threw up on a webpage.
where conversely, fucking whatchamacallit? What's the other one? What's the Toronto awesome beer? Fucking
Bellwoods?
Bellwoods labels are fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah.
In a new school hipstery kind of way, and like a old school like poster board kind of like old school like rock poster for somebody that's going to do something kind of way. I don't know how to I don't know how to verbalize it, but their labeling is
like a, what do you call it, a Saul Bass, like a simplicity to him or something, almost.
Saul Bass.
Yeah, that's a little too simplistic, but just trying to think. But you get the idea what I'm talking about. They've got
No, I know you were talking about. Yeah. It's like the birth of new age screen printing on posters, kind of.
Yeah, that Bring Out Your Dead label is fucking fantastic. I love it.
Yeah. It's like letterpress, almost letterpress.
The Motley Crue label is from Bellwoods is really good as well.
Cool.
Like and Nickelbrook's shit is cool. I like Naughty Neighbor for all your sexist folk out there.
Yeah.
And fucking
like
Kentucky
the Kentucky
Bastard
with I'm pretty sure
Bastard. Oh, the Bastards are kind of a rip on liquor, Tennessee liquor, but at the same time, I dig it.
The Nickelbrook, what is it? It's one of their canned beers. It's I think it's their black IPA. It's the one with the luchador jumping off the fucking top rope. It's a brown can. I can't think of the fucking name. Average Joe and I did a dual review on it like a couple years back.
I don't remember seeing that one ever.
I'm gonna see if I can find
the
it.
The headstock can from Nickelbrook too is pretty good with like just the head of the guitar.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who really fucking crushes it, man. Label-wise, I'm like bouncing around in my brain, like scanning, be like, okay, who? Actually, and it was a weird label. It's and that the label is really cool, but more so it feels really cool, which sounds kind of retarded. Was Fort George's. I just had it. Let me see if I can find it real quick. This is like the art for it. Oh no, that one sucks. I
was gonna try and bring up labels from like Parallel 49 in BC. That isn't the one I was thinking of, but that's also a pretty cool label.
Oh, what was the one? I think I had one. It was like something or other. It was like Unicorn or something like that. Parallel 49. It was. Shit, I don't remember. I had a cool label from.
But here's that, Black Imperial IPA from Nickelbrook. It was their Malevolent. It's got the luchador.
Oh, yeah. I remember seeing that. That was really fucking cool.
And then Boxing Rock here in Nova Scotia, all their labels sort of generally fit this sort of scheme. Very simplistic. It's got all the information on it. It's all sort of minimalist. And they got a really cool logo, too. Like, that fucking octopus logo is pretty badass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
This is the Fort George one. It's cool. I mean, I'm a sucker for a mixing board, so I dig it. But at the same time, it felt super cool. It was on a can, and it felt like a old school screen printed shirt. It was like it just felt so cool. Like when you hold the can, I don't know, something about it just did it for me.
Huh. Nice.
Let's see what else I can find.
Does it just me, or does it just sort of look like they kind of like artificially made it look like it's an aged label off of something as well? Or
I think it's because mixing boards in general are kind of outdated notions.
Beat
up.
You know what I mean?
Stuff,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Let's see. What do we got here? We got any winners? Oh, actually, one of the best labels, and it's like I don't think it's well done. I just think the idea just tickles me pink. Let's see if I can find a good picture of it. Is Rushing Ducks divided by 0.
There, I just posted a picture of Robo Ruby from Parallel 49. That's
All right. On. That looks like a tattoo of some sort that you'd see. It's got sort of that tattoo shading to it.
But Thor's hammer from Central City.
It's so funny. Right now is the most activity we ever had comments-wise. People are just hammering the fucking comments with like labels.
Are they?
Yeah. But look at this fucking label. Everybody in here is gonna love this fucking label. It's
I wish I could see all the
They basically
labels.
made a Windows blue screen of death and made it a fucking label. How fucking good is that?
That is awesome.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, and it just goes through the whole thing and tells you like error 5.5 hops per barrel. Like it's just fucking hilarious.
Whoever designed that label, you just got to go fucking John Malkovich and Rounders and pay that man his money.
Yeah, that was just such a great. When I saw it, I was like, no, how has nobody thought of this before? Trying to think. Let's see. Weyerbacher sucks, Joe. I'm sorry. I love their beer. I like what they're doing, but their labels suck balls.
They're better than they were before.
No, they're not as shitty as they were before. They're not good.
Here's old blithering idiot right here. That's just fucking horrible. You know. Yeah, that. Ugh, it's just so fucking bad. I don't have a new blithering idiot.
I'd say Bose.
Oh, thank you.
Bose makes really cool labels. You're right.
Yeah. And here's the Block 3 that Nick got me there a couple of years back.
Pretty simple.
Yeah. Pretty simplistic, but really well done. And I really like they got the blank space where they can just like write with marker when it was fucking packaged and everything.
Here's one, and you probably had this one, Lee. I don't know if anybody sent you this one, but
Phillips Hop Circle. Yeah, I got that from I think Beer Zerker or Jordan, one or the other.
Jordan sent it to me there last year.
No, it was probably Jordan that sent it to me then. Yeah, that's pretty badass.
Like Treehouse's labels are fucking. I mean, I know everybody fucking rips on them. You probably can't see much of it there because it's fucking shitty quality, but like their fucking labels are really well done. One of the reasons why I like the brewery too.
And I really like Flying Dog stuff, but then I'm a fan of Ralph Steadman's art. So
is that who does it?
Yeah, the guy who did all the illustrations for Hunter Thompson's books.
Oh,
that makes sense.
If you're a nerd, there's also like the Klingon Warnog.
Oh yeah, or the Vulcan Ale as well. They sort of look like the old school posters for the classic movies or whatever to a certain degree. They sort of got that aesthetic to them.
Actually, this is probably one of my favorite labels I've seen in a very, very long time. Their whole label designs are pretty much all like this, but something about this just moves me. Let's see. Okay, let's beer. There's a brewery out of where the fuck are they? Maine, I think, or New England area. Let's see. They are called. I think it's just Burlington Beer Company. And they do the They just basically do like glyphs, kind of on their beers. And I reviewed one of their beers. It was called "It's Not Complicated Being a Wizard."
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I remember
that label is just I was like, holy fuck shit, that's beautiful. That's art. That's not just beer labels.
Sorry.
I remember.
I was going to say, do the CL's labels.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're talking about it. Lee was saying they're just for people like Brian Froud.
No, I said some of them were really great, and some of them looked like a 17-year-old girl in art class doing Hobbit pictures or whatever, you know. But
which is pretty much Brian Froud.
Yeah, but I do remember commenting on the it's complicated being a wizard when you had it in a past show there, or was it a review? I can't remember, but
either one. Like when my buddy. Who's slowly been getting into beer. He when he goes, his wife is like a huge crazy triathlete, so he travels a lot and he's been picking up random stuff and just been like, "Hey, I brought you some stuff back." And he's like, I never heard of the brewery before. And he's like, "Yeah, I got this. It's not complicated being a wizard." I'm like, "What? Who the fuck names a beer that?" You know what I mean? Then he pulled the beer out. I was like, "That fucking shit is awesome." I'm like, I hope the beer's good because I really just want to love the fuck out of it based off the design, and it was a really good beer. I need to get more of their shit. I had two of their beers, that one and a porter, but the porter I just had in passing. I actually didn't review it or anything like that. But yeah, that I'm a sucker for white too. Like when breweries white out a bottle. Like sometimes you have delirium style bottles, or some breweries will actually kind of screen print over complete white. I don't know what it is. The contrast just
there's
Maine Brewing.
Well, not necessarily Maine, because that's just a white label on a black bottle. Okay. I'm talking there's the Burlington cans are just white. There's other people that just do all white cans. I don't know why I'm not thinking about it right now. But then there's some Belgian breweries that do this faux stone.
Yeah,
white.
Faux ceramic bottles or whatever.
Yeah. And that, I don't know. I'm a sucker for it.
Well, Delirium does that.
Yeah, Delirium does it, but there's other ones. There's a brewery. I know the beer is called Hugestraten. It's a little bit more khaki. But it's it's that faux stone over it, and I'm just a sucker for that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a stone bottle with a swing top, I'm like, I'll buy it. Fuck it, just give it.
I like. There's one from brewery from England I've seen. Their labels are they're just a white label, and it's almost done in Victorian script and design, where it's just listing everything in the bottle, what the beer is and the ingredients and everything, and that's basically the label of the whole thing. It's just very minimalist and very almost looks like it should be on a doctor's shelf somewhere or something like that.
It's almost like a prescription bottle kind of style.
Kind of thing. Yeah. Trying to think.
We could do it conversely and just say, man, these fucking labels fucking suck. 'Cause there's a lot of fucking labels that fucking suck.
Mm.
A lot of Ithaca's labels are kind of shitty.
Well, a lot of Ithaca's beers are kind of shitty.
Yeah, fair enough.
I hate breweries that they started out, their labels are kind of small and shitty, and it's okay, you give them the benefit of the doubt because it's okay, you started out in 1997 and that's what your label looked like, right? And okay, and now you've gotten bigger and you're still using those same labels to this day and they just look like garbage, and it's dude, you really got to update that shit. Garrison just really started updating the regular labels on their bottles now. For the longest time, they just had these old labels that were small, They had no information on them other than the milliliters and the alcohol, and that was it, and like what the beer was, and it was just a different color and different text for the name or whatever. But I mean, they were all basically the same. They were so uniform and shitty looking.
And the new ones look all like bold and like impact font or something.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
actually looks a lot like that can that Matt had just shown us there
Yeah.
earlier. I forget what it was.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Which one?
not sure what else I can see. No, Headstock's a great label. I forgot how I just came across it. I forgot how cool that looked.
I find like a lot of traditional North American macro lager labels, like the older ones, a lot of them look like shit to me. Like they just like they look like they've got pretense of fancy stuff on them that they've taken from like Europe and stuff, but they just don't have the same fucking class for some reason. They just kind of look messy and sloppily put together.
Ooh, I got a good label. Here we go. This is a good one. I love this motherfucker. This is a collaboration beer between Surly, I believe, Surly Brewing out of the United States, and De Proof Brewing out of Belgium. This is fucking fantastic fucking label.
Okay, let's see here. Long of Tooth.
I love that label. It was one of the weirdest beers I ever had too. It was fucking fantastic.
Old ale, right on.
Then there's like conversely ghetto. You know, Joe, locally, Nimble Hill has the worst fucking labels. They're like the worst.
Yeah.
Joe froze.
Oh, you know what labels I hate? And this is a connection to Joe, the ones from the fucking Niagara Teaching College.
They're the
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
worst.
They
They're the
really
fucking worst.
are. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't want to let our class fill your glass?
No,
You know,
I want you to tell me what the style of the fucking beer is. What the fuck is my ale? That's not a style.
You know what Niagara College's labels remind me of? Of a fucking infomercial on public access TV. That's exactly what they remind me of. It's like we paid somebody to make this label, but it was a college kid in his first semester of graphic design. Like,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, here you go.
I just learned vector graphics, but then I forgot how to do them.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are terrible. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
it's not even so much the minimalist design. It's the fact that the labels don't tell you anything. Like, what I really want to see on a student beer that's being released to the general population for drinking, I want to see who the student is. I want to see what they thought, what they were trying to go for.
Yeah.
And, I want the story on the back, and then I want the alcohol. I want what the style they were shooting for. And maybe the student's picture if they want to put their face on it. But
Yeah, like they can do it not right. Like they can actually have like you said, have a nice label, a core label, the same thing they're doing now. It's almost like their labels are like video game cans, to where it's like the same can over and over, just a little bit different verbiage on it, like corn or beer or whatever.
Yeah.
But they can have like a nice centralized logo, and then like have an infographic on one side with like the face of the brewer and a short bio, and then the other side like history of the fucking brewery. Like, and that, you know who could do that? 19 billion students that they probably have access to that would do it for nothing but for a credit on the bottom corner of the label. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, come on.
You know what it reminded me of? I'll put a link here in the chat. Has anyone ever seen the movie Repo Man from the 80s?
Oh, of course.
All the generic products.
No, that light beer is infinitely better than fucking
It is,
Niagara's
isn't it?
College
Yeah.
fucking labels.
That was like the closest I could think of, but even that, I like that a lot better.
At least, like, for a lot of our project beers, we did make it a point to put the style in the description. So, like, I had on my cans, I had the name of my beer and then English style barley wine and the alcohol percentage.
Right on.
Yeah. But yeah, the labels are, the certified original labels are fucking stupid as shit.
Did you get your diploma already? Did you actually grab it?
Not yet. I technically don't graduate until May.
Watch your words, motherfucker.
The ceremony is.
They're gonna be like, "Hey, man,
unfortunately
unfortunately, we have an issue with your diploma."
Oh, my iPad went all funny real quick.
Damn! It seems you're a credit short. What the
fuck? Yeah.
Ooh, look at this.
Actually, you know what? That's what you need to do. You need to start trashing the college as much as possible so they do that. And then write a column about how they've sandbagged you and won't give you the degree. And then you'll get a job at any brewery you want because people will feel sorry for you. There you go.
Yeah,
no, like,
plan, right?
Yeah, force their hand.
For me.
Be like, I put blood, sweat, and tears into this, and all I want to do is make good beer for great people. And then fucking, Jim Koch will be like, come work at fucking beer head brewer at fucking Boston Beer Company and make Cosmic Motherfunk and fucking Utopias all day. We'll start you off at $250,000 a year. It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did the last week's this past week's impromptu BDU go, Nick?
Yeah, we didn't go online or anything, but it went all right. We had a Hoagley Live there on Tuesday, or was that Wednesday?
It was Wednesday.
Wednesday.
I was actually trying to invite Matt, but I couldn't find him on my Google Plus. Apparently, I'm having the same problem as Rhino is. Yeah, and it's weird because I checked and it shows massive beer reviews in 2 circles, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I still can't find them.
Well, that's probably partially my fault because I've been doing this thing to separate, make it its own entity. That way, when I join, like when I do this, it's like the massive beer review thing. But when I join BDU, it's just like my personal thing. So I've been trying to separate it. So it's probably my fault most of it.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind next time, and I'll just send you a link on Facebook or something if I ever do another one. And when BDU comes up too, I'll make sure that a link gets sent to you on Facebook at the very least.
Was it on Monday when I hosted just a private hangout? I tried to add you, but I couldn't find what account you were using. I couldn't, for some reason, when I typed in massive beer reviews, nothing came up. And I think I saw your private account, but it hadn't been active since like 2011, so it was like, I'm not sure if he uses that one anymore.
Yeah, just send me, if you have the time, send me a link in Facebook. It's just the easiest way to go.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool.
You know what I mean? So people are giving you shit for bailing already on fucking Rhino shit, Lee?
Huh?
Yeah, but it's not like I...
No, you're not bailing because you don't want to go. I mean, life gets in the way. It's fucking hard, man.
Well, I'm just not too keen on paying the money it would take to take a train trip or a regular plane trip, and I'm not too keen on flying in some cheap ass little 2-seater or whatever the fuck that fucking new company is that's starting up here in Nova Scotia that's flying. So
what do they want to whack you for plane or train?
A fucking, I think probably a regular plane from Halifax would probably be a few $100s at least for a two-way. And fucking train is, I was looking at some of the prices were fucking nuts. It was like upwards of like $600 or more to make that distance.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, so.
Do they have anything like a bus route with a connection or something? Or
There's no way I'm taking a fucking bus.
I'm driving a fucking bus.
I'm not taking a fucking bus. Just
For
not
me-
happening.
For me, I live close to the St. John Airport, so it's like hop on a plane and go straight to Toronto. I just get them to pick me up there, and that's it.
Yeah.
That doesn't suck.
Yeah. Oh, I just bought my tickets there last weekend, and it only set me back $340 for a round trip. So that ain't bad.
$340 is $340 though.
It's still, but even then, like it's cheaper than last year.
What was it last year?
Ended up being about $500 round trip.
Damn. Gas,
But-
fuel prices, bitch.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you
I
very
mean,
much.
well, there's that, but I mean, if you were to take a car, it would cost that much if you're traveling by yourself or with one person.
Mm-hmm.
Although it really wasn't that bad in 2014 nearly when we drove up, and it was still gas like over $1 a liter, I think then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we split the price, made it a lot more manageable. So.
Yeah. Even if most people backed out.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It's just one of those planning bad luck kind of fucking situations.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, hey, you made it up there though.
Yeah, at least I got to make it up to one of them. Hopefully, I'll get to go up to some more at some point. But
Yeah.
We need to drag you guys down to the States one time for some proper American level beer debauchery.
well, I know Paul keeps threatening to kidnap me and take me into the woods. I don't know if that's for beer or if that's for something else, or maybe both.
With him, it could be anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, are you going up to Chad's this year, there, Matt?
The answer was yes. Now I don't know. I just started a new job a month ago. So it's a super cool job though. They probably let me take the time off, but the timing is a little bit dubious. So I'll have to check with them. You know what I mean? But plans are yes. But we'll see what happens.
That's tentative at this point, eh?
The what?
Kind of tentative at this point, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not far. Like, technically, it's like it'd be a cool trip to do. Like, if I do this trip, I'd probably go with my girl and pull a little fucking whatever. But like, just go up and let her do her thing, and me do the beer stuff for a night and a half. But we'll see what happens. The job I got is actually like a really good job, so I'll have the money. So the money's not an issue. It's more like time. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. I was wondering if you just wouldn't go if Paul wasn't gonna go or something.
No, because it's not far. You know what I mean? So if Paul doesn't go, I can still just go because it's only like four hours, and
That's bad.
yeah, it's like 4 hours and change, and I haven't been to Toronto in a while, and I have like when I went there last time I did do Toronto, and then like a bunch of the guys, there's a few breweries in like upstate New York on the way that have beer. They're like, okay, stop by and we'll give you some beer, so I get some free beer along the way. You know what I mean? So it's like behooves me to go. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, I hope you make it, man. I mean, if it's understandable, at least sounds good.
Yeah,
That's
it's not my. Well, the other thing is, if I go up and I don't go with my girlfriend, I'll go with my buddy George, and he goes to Buffalo like once a month. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's for him.
Once
it's
a
just
month.
like
He goes there like once every 2 weeks.
well, I'm trying to be nice, but he's there right now, actually.
Here right now.
He is. He's totally there right now. I think he's going to a Sabres game or you may be going to a Sabres game. Anyway, whatever.
Joe.
He's he's like a Sabres junkie, and his girlfriend lives in Rochester, so he's constantly driving up there. So I'll probably make it up, but we'll see.
Cool.
Why is Paul like out?
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said why, but he did say something about being out.
Well, I mean, I assume I haven't talked to Paul like in depth for months. It seems like he's kind of dropped off the internet, and I'm sure there's more to the story, but like
Well, he had
the car wreck, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also at their work now, he was doing most of his computer stuff, hangouts and shit from work while he was working. Apparently, they've upgraded the computer systems now to where they're monitoring what he does during his shift. So now he can't, oh, I'm working, and by the way, I'm going to jump on a hangout and talk about beer all night, So.
Well, that sucks.
He's trying to change that. He's trying to get his shifts changed around or something like that, so he can go back to safely not doing work and fucking off on the internet. But
okay, his official explanation was wife got a new job, so she wouldn't be able to take the time off to look after the kids while he's away.
Makes fair enough.
I just figured they'd invite a couple bears in there and they'd look after the kids for a couple months. And
a couple of other
And a
Sasquatches.
pack of wolves in there or something.
Well, he does have a couple like hounds that could probably do quite a good job looking after the kids, because I've been there and they're quite attentive. So
yeah.
All
right. Well, I got to bug out there, gentlemen. It was nice talking to you all. So you guys all have a good night.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good cue to kind of just let it go and end this one. Right, Joe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I really need to go downstairs and play some PlayStation, to be perfectly honest with you. So, yeah,
I got to go upstairs and play video games with Amanda, so.
It's first world problems, baby. So there you go.
It
Hopefully
really
guys,
is.
hopefully you guys enjoyed the hangout, and hopefully you tune in next week. We're predominantly going to do Friday nights, maybe Saturdays here and there from now on out, just because of my new schedule at my job. But if you guys want to join it in on the post-show stuff or bring up topics, you can write us at lovebeerradio@gmail.com. And you can connect with me at Massive Beers, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. How about you, Joe?
You can find me at nepabeerreviews.squarespace.com. Also, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at nepabeerreviews.
How about you, Nick?
I'm on YouTube at Maxwell Stars Beer Review, and also on Facebook as Maxwell Stars Beer Review.
So there you go, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the show. Hopefully you tune in next time we broadcast, and hopefully see you next time. Cheers.